Welcome to the Rewriting Naruto series. This is a series of videos where I rewrite Naruto, making changes to improve the story for my personal taste. This is gonna be a compilation of parts 56 through 60, covering the Bloody Mist Village arc, which is an original arc of the Rewrite series, and you actually don't even need to have watched the rest of the series to enjoy this one, because it happens in the past. We explore a lot more about the dark times of the Mist Village and what they used to do in those days, doing some world building, and developing some interesting characters from that village, like Yagura, the 4th Mizukage, Mei Terumi, Suigetsu, Kisame, Zabuza. And if you have watched this before, there are a few parts that are different that I tweaked and made a little bit better for this movie-like version. So stick around. Also, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and ring notifications. Those things really help me out. And it helps you out as well, so you'll always receive my videos and stuff. Now let's get going. The ocean breeze hit Suigetsu's face as the boat cut through the water. Mist ninjas powered it with water style. The young Suigetsu stood at the deck of the ship, and he was excited. At 7 years old, that was the first time he was going on a mission. Well, he was not a ninja yet. His older brother, Mangetsu, had taken him with as an observer, so that Suigetsu could start learning the shinobi way from early on. The ocean's so cool, Suigetsu told his brother in excitement, as they both stared into the ocean. It certainly is, he patted Suigetsu's head. This mission, is it gonna be difficult? It shouldn't be. Then why are the most powerful Mist Jonins on the boat? Mangetsu looked at him with a smirk. You're becoming really observant, aren't you? Well, I want to be a ninja swordsman like you, so I want to learn everything I can. Not just sword fighting like we've been sparring, but everything about the ninja world. Well, that's great. But really, it shouldn't be a difficult mission. We're actually going to watch a tournament of sorts. What? Really? What kind of tournament? It's a fighting tournament. Can I fight too? Are you willing to kill the enemy, Suigetsu? Of course! That's not a problem. We've been going hunting for a while. No, I forgot you were a bloodthirsty little boy. That's a great quality for a shinobi, but no, you can't enter the tournament. Oh, come on, you think I can't win? No, you just can't participate. Only the locals can fight. Oh, that's a dumb rule. Why are we even gonna watch then? Mangetsu, you should tell him the truth. He's gonna find out anyway. Kisame said, joining the two. Suigetsu had always found that man funny, especially the fact that he had blue skin and looked like a fish. Why don't you tell him, Kisame? You know much more about that island than me. Very well. You see, little Suigetsu, we are going to a place called the Shark Island. Well, at least that's how the Mist Village calls it. There lives a clan called the Shark Clan, or at least that's how the Mist Village calls them. Wait, are they real sharks? Not exactly. The Shark Island is located in the land of water, so naturally the feudal lord has dominion over it. However, the Shark Clan is rather wild. They enjoy eating human flesh above all else, and they can be extremely unpredictable and attack nearby islands or cities throughout the land of water to collect food. So a few decades ago, there was a raid. The Mist Village attacked and subdued the Shark Clan. It was a bloody battle, but the village came out on top, and after that, a settlement was reached. They created a fictional line where the Shark Clan could attack outside the land of water and get their meals properly. And also, every 7 years, a great battle royale is to be held with at least 250 kids or teenagers from the Shark Clan, where only one of the participants is to survive. The winner is taken by the Mist Village and is to become a Mist Shinobi. Oh, that's brutal. It's quite genius, if I may say so myself. The Mist controls the population of the Shark Clan so they can't attack or pose too much of a threat, and even restrain them into attacking other nations nearby, weakening them by extent. And to top it all off, they gain one extremely promising shinobi prospect from the battle royale, and so long as the Shark Clan cooperates, they are left alone. This deal has sustained peace in the region ever since it was implemented. So are we gonna watch this battle royale? That's gonna be awesome! Yes, it is a bloody affair, and you know how much sharks love blood. You know how riled up they become. Wait a minute. Suigetsu said, squinting his eyes at Kisame. Were you one of the kids that won the battle royale? So you finally caught on, little Suigetsu. 272 which our clan members fought in the one I participated, I killed only 266 of them. Suigetsu opened his eyes wide in surprise. What do you mean, only? My goal was to kill all of them. Alas, I couldn't get to them all in time. I mean, weren't they your family or something? We were all given a mission before the battle royale started to kill every single other participant. I was simply fulfilling that mission. Oh, now I know why Yagura sent you to this mission even though you have a history with them, a beautiful woman said as she and a teenage girl arrived to the conversation. It was Mei Terumi. She was beautiful and wore a blue dress. She came from a prestigious clan in the Mist Village, just like Suigetsu. According to everyone, she was really powerful. Though Suigetsu heard rumors that many people in the village, especially other ninjas, didn't like her. The teenage girl next to her was Ringo Ameyuri. She had recently become a 7-ninja swordsman, just like Suigetsu's brother, and now displayed the twin fangs, the dual blades of the 7 great swords on her waist. Rest assured, Mei, my allegiance is to the Mizukage. I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying he has sadistic tendencies, and I don't like that at all. Especially the casual way you talk about massacring your own. It was simply my mission, Mei. And you enjoyed it, didn't you? Oh, come on, Mei, there's no need to antagonize Kisame. Mangetsu moved in between them. He's right, Mei, you're too uptight. You should chill a little bit, Ameyuri said. Quiet, you brat. You just became a jonin and you think you can boss everyone around? Whatever. Come on, Mei. I'm the boss, at least here. So now I command you to stop fighting, right? You can do that for me, Mangetsu said. He was the captain of the battalion. There were 12 jonins on the boat. Oh yes, you were very responsible, Mangetsu. A great captain you're gonna be. This is an S-rank mission. We're all jonins here, and you bring a child into it. Do you want to get your brother killed? No, I'm just showing my brother the harsh realities of shinobi life, preparing him to become a 7-ninja swordsman. You should do the same. Shut up, don't tell me that. Come on, Mei. You know how hard things are. And I got approval from Lord Mizukage to bring him along. Suigetsu smiled. His parents died 2 years ago, but his brother was doing his best to teach and spend time with him. Mangetsu was 15 years older than him, so Suigetsu had started to see him more as a father than a brother at this point. You repulse me, especially you, Kisame. Mei scowled. Kisame simply shrugged. Isn't your shift to power the ship, Mei? Come on, you don't need to antagonize people here. We don't want to start a fight. Can you please go? Mangetsu asked. Mei twisted her lips and turned around with a brisk motion and left to propel the ship with her water-style ninjutsu. What's up with her? I mean, I knew people didn't like her very much, but she's been even more annoying than usual. Ameyuri, her younger brother died a few weeks ago. Cut her some slack, Mangetsu said. Oh, I see. Shinobi life is a constant of suffering and misery. She should be used to that by now. I mean, losing a brother is pretty harsh regardless of who you are, Kisame, and her parents died a few years ago, so she's been taking care of her siblings ever since. Suigetsu looked up his brother and understood why he was being so nice to her. Anyway, have you put more thought into my proposal, Kisame? Yes. Unfortunately, the swords that would suit my talents are taken at the moment. What? Are you gonna join the 7-ninja swordsman? Ameyuri asked. Mangetsu did offer me a position, but the swords that I would want to use are the executioner's blades, and that one is with little Zabuza, and most of all, the one I crave the most would be the Samehada, but that one is with Fuguki, so I'd rather not be a bother. As the commander of the 7-ninja swordsmen, I affirm you wouldn't be one. Come on, Kisame. Look at Ameyuri. She joined our ranks like a month ago and she's doing great. Stop complimenting me. I think you should take one of the swords, Mr. Kisame. They look cool on you, regardless of the sword. You're a good boy, but I'll be fine. Perhaps one day I shall become a 7-ninja swordsman like you. Which sword do you want to have one day, Suigetsu? Well, to be honest, the Samehada, like you. I see. Perhaps one day we'll fight over it. A shiver ran down Suigetsu's spine. He didn't fancy having to fight the guy who killed 266 members of his clan. Scared? Well, Well, maybe we don't have to fight to the death. Kisame pulled out his katana. How about a little sparring, little Suigetsu? Go easy on him, Kisame. Suigetsu hasn't even awakened the hydrification jutsu yet. That was scary. Suigetsu didn't know if he should even spar with Kisame, so he looked at his brother, who nodded at him, reassuring Suigetsu. He breathed in deeply, trying to shake away the fear, and unsheathed his katana, assuming a fighting stance his brother had taught him. Come at me with the intention to kill, Kisame said with a smile, and Suigetsu dashed. He jumped and swung his sword at Kisame's neck, who parried in response. Oh, I see you have no qualms about killing the target. The deck became a cacophony of metal striking metal as the two traded blows. My brother takes me hunting. I'm used to seeing guts. Suigetsu slashed in a flurry of swings, but Kisame countered them easily and with a smile. You know what? He's pretty good for his age. He could easily beat a Genin. Amayuri told Mangetsu as the two watched the bout. He has to be. I don't intend on him failing the academy exams like Mei's little brother. They arrived at the island a day later. The battalion composed of 12 jonins and Suigetsu disembarked. Stay close, alright? These guys are not exactly friendly, Suigetsu, his brother said. No, they are not. Suigetsu swallowed, but he went with them. The island was tropical. Suigetsu enjoyed the humidity, but the heat not so much. It was then when Suigetsu saw them. Several blue people approached the mist group. They were terrifying. They all had the same fish-like traits that Kisame had, with all shades of blue, but their bodies, they were littered with scars. Some were old, but others were alarmingly fresh. Their faces were all scowls. If they could kill every single member of the battalion, they would. The shark men wore rudimentary clothes and carried rudimentary weapons as well, but something told Suigetsu they could make up for that with sheer ferocity. Their teeth were pointy and sharp, just like sharks, and just like Kisame's. That was strange though. They had so many scars, and Kisame had none, even though he fought in the battle royale. Did that mean Kisame was so strong they couldn't even hurt him? Maybe they just didn't have any healers like the Mist Village had medic ninjas, but still, after their sparring session, Kisame told Suigetsu he was around 10 when he left to the Mist Village, and also said that his very first memory was of him raiding a small island and killing the inhabitants in a covert raid with his clan, feasting on the fallen. So he had always been fighting, and yet, Kisame had no visible scars. A 2.5 meter tall man parted the rest of the shark clan. His body was built like a concrete wall, but something else distinguished him from the rest. His head resembled the one of a hammerhead shark. Welcome to Kashiri, Mistfolk, the hammerhead said to the group, but his separated eyes focused on Kisame. Thank you for receiving us, Chieftain Gutigakido. We've been looking forward to the great bout, Mangetsu said. The preparations are all ready. Follow us. The bout will start when we are all accommodated. The Mist group followed the Shark Clan and the Hammerhead into the tropical vegetation. It was a somewhat dense tropical forest with a sandy ground. The walk was eerily silent. The only sounds they heard were their footsteps on the sand and insects flying around. Suigetsu could almost touch the tension in the air. He wasn't expecting the encounter to be this nerve-wracking. Then again, that clan was about to lose so many of their members. Good to see you again as well, father. Kisame broke the silence with irony lacing his words. The hammerhead turned around. Suigetsu couldn't read his facial expression because his face looked too alien, but his body language seemed furious. Why are you here, Mogadore? That is no longer my name, father. I am Kisame Hoshigaki. What? They're not content enough with stripping away the Kashiri clan name, but they also change your given names? And to name you like that, Kisame? I like the sound of it. I'm sure you guys can discuss familial matters later, after the bout, right? Mangetsu said, trying to calm the nerves. Let's get this over quick, the hammerhead said, and the group resumed their walk. You know, I have to say you look better than your father, Amayuri whispered to Kisame. Don't get me wrong, you still look hideous, but your old man is just something else. I took after my mom. Oh, are you excited to see her as well? She's dead. Oh, my bad. It's quite alright. Father ate her when I was 8. What?
ate her? Like, literally?
Yes, he had been recently promoted as chieftain, and she disrespected him in front of the clan, questioning his authority. So he ate her in front of the clan, and of me as well. Amayuri got quiet, so he get to notice her face growing paler. He was probably pale as well, and as a matter of fact, all jonin seemed extremely apprehensive. Even though they were highly trained ninjas, even though his brother said this mission shouldn't be much of a problem, Mangetsu himself was apprehensive. He hit it very well, but Suigetsu could tell his brother was worried. His eyebrows lowered towards his eyes ever so slightly. The only mist ninja who seemed fine was Kisame. As a matter of fact, he was utterly unfazed and smiling. "Let me tell you one thing, little Suigetsu," Kisame whispered to him. "It's something very important you should know about the mission. What I told you yesterday was true. Our mission is supposed to be simple and easy. Watch the bloodshed, take the winner home. No sweat involved. But this mission also has a conditional assignment."
What do you mean by that?
"On the condition that the Shark clan betrays the Mist Village, we are to exterminate every single inhabitant of the island. So get ready. Mangetsu told me you enjoy chopping limbs, right?"
What do you mean by betraying?
The group arrived at a clearing, and a massive lagoon laid ahead, in front of them, at the center of the island. That was where the battle royale was supposed to be held, but this time, hundreds, no, thousands of shark people surrounded them, weapons ready, teeth showing. Suigetsu understood. It was an ambush. "Kill them all!" The hammerhead screamed. The entire clan swarmed the mist ninjas, entering a frenzy. They roared, displaying their sharp teeth, and prepared their jagged weapons ready to strike. The mist ninjas immediately jumped into action. Amayuri weaved a hand sign and raised a tall circular ice wall around the ninjas. The Shark clan clashed against it, hacking with their weapons, even biting the ice, and the wall began to crack all around. Mangetsu pulled a large scroll, opened it, and summoned a sword. It was Shibuki, famously known as the Blast Sword. The weapon itself resembled a massive scroll that unrolled itself to form a paper edge, but it wasn't just any paper. Those were paper bombs. That sword exploded upon its strike. Suigetsu also understood that. His brother was proficient with every single of the 7 ninja swords, but Shibuki was the perfect weapon for mass extermination. "You know Lord Mizukage's orders. Kill everything that moves!" Mangetsu told his squadron, and then he looked at Suigetsu. "On your guard, Suigetsu. If you don't fight, you will die." That shot Suigetsu awake. He unsheathed his sword with trembling hands, and adrenaline coursed through his veins. The ice wall broke, and the Shark clan blasted forward, passing through the shards. The mist ninjas were ready. Mei spat a stream of acid that hit dozens of sharkmen, sizzling their skin and making them scream in agony. Amayuri spun with her blades, imbuing them with lightning and becoming a blur. She cut through several sharkmen with a fluid motion, severing their weapons in the process, using ice-style shards to attack some that were further away from her. Kisame smiled. He slashed with his katana, killing several of his former clan members, parrying attacks coming from all sides. Mangetsu swung his blast sword. Every strike exploded over a dozen sharkmen, sending them flying away with their bodies on fire. He didn't bother dodging upcoming attacks. The jagged weapons hit him, but whenever they did so, that section of his body turned into water and recomposed itself. Mangetsu simply kept on attacking and exploding the enemies in a cascade of blasts, ignoring everything coming at him. The other 8 jonin of the squadron also slashed and attacked the Sharkman. The mist ninjas were dropping many of the enemies, so Suigetsu realized they were much more skilled in the shinobi arts, and the shark people mostly relied on their fury. That's why bringing jonins to fight here was a good idea. They could all handle their ferocity, but Suigetsu wasn't a jonin, and even if several sharkmen were dying, they didn't stop coming. With the numbers advantage they had, they could maybe even run the mist ninjas out of chakra. Suigetsu himself didn't move. He wanted to be protected by the perimeter the jonins had created, but 2 sharkmen broke through that perimeter, dashing at him. They held sharp bone daggers, and their eyes craved his blood. Suigetsu raised his sword, blocking their ferocious strikes. They were well-built adults, so much stronger than a kid Suigetsu, but he knew that. Suigetsu couldn't parry their attacks head-on, so he needed to use his sword to redirect the force of their blows. Thankfully, his brother taught him well. Even with two men attacking him at the same time, Suigetsu outmaneuvered their strikes, using their momentum against themselves, and cut off the hand of one and the leg of the other in a quick combination of feint strikes. It didn't matter how big they were, a sharp sword would cut their flesh all the same. The two enemies roared in pain. They steeled themselves and attacked Suigetsu back with even more ferocity, but their attacks became sloppy and inefficient, especially for the man without a leg. Suigetsu slashed his throat after a limping lunge. Blood splashed all over and the man fell. The other one attacked in return, and Suigetsu quickly blocked his one-handed thrust, redirecting his katana to the man's chest. The steel blade ran through his heart, killing him instantly. The other shark man still lived for a few more seconds until he stopped twitching after so much blood loss. Suigetsu looked at the battlefield around him. It was chaos. Mei spat a wave of lava at a horde of shark men that burned to their death slowly and agonizingly. Mangetsu created edge-shaped explosions with elegant brandishes of his sword that sent dozens of sharkmen flying away in several directions. Kisame spat a great water wave, and Amayuri pierced her sword into the water, electrifying it. When it hit the sharkmen, they screamed in paralyzing pain. Once they stopped moving, Kisame weaved hand signs, and his wave of water turned into several water sharks that devoured them. He did it all with a smile on his face, and Suigetsu found those deaths especially ironic. However, one of the other Jonins became completely surrounded and got overwhelmed by the sharkmen. They attacked from all sides, killing him in a frenzy of slashes and bites that carved out large chunks of his flesh until the only trace left of that mist ninja was blood left on the sand. Seeing the death of a mist ninja made the sharkmen become even more barbaric. The hammerhead bit one of the Jonin's heads and yanked it off his body. He kept moving and assaulted another Jonin from behind, cleaving him in half with his massive jagged sword. The other sharkmen devoured the rest of their bodies as a hammerhead chewed on the head. With 3 Jonin down, the mist perimeter began to buckle. Dozens of sharkmen came rushing at Suigetsu. They had pieces of flesh and ninja clothing stuck to their teeth. Suigetsu tightened the grip on his sword, letting the adrenaline take over. He slashed, killing 3 sharkmen in a sequence of attacks and parries, but he felt a powerful blow from behind. One of the enemies kicked him after Suigetsu blocked his attack. He fell to the ground, and the sharks were ready to eat him. They laughed and opened their mouths, but water bullets cruised the air, hitting the sharks around Suigetsu. They passed completely through their bodies, emerging on the other side with small clouds of blood. His brother shot them from the tip of his index fingers with a frenetic sequence, several bullets a second. He ignored the sharks around him entirely, as sections of his body turned into water, negating their strikes. The sharks around Suigetsu dropped one by one, and he stood back up, covered by his brother's water bullets. He resumed his attack against the incoming sharkman. Suigetsu stopped thinking. He just attacked, cutting arms, legs, heads, killing almost a dozen sharkmen at that point, until one of them bit him on the shoulder from behind. He felt the sharp teeth digging into his skin, and the sharkman tried to yank that piece of flesh out of his shoulder. Suigetsu screamed in pain and terror with the force of the bite, but it stopped. "I see you really enjoy chopping off limbs," Kisame said, with the sharkman that had been biting Suigetsu dead skewered by his sword. The hammerhead grabbed another Jonin, and this time he ripped him apart with his bare hands, splitting the man's torso. He tossed both halves to the sharkmen around him, who swarmed around the flesh and devoured it. "Mogadoru, you traitor!" The hammerhead screamed at Kisame, and for the first time, Suigetsu saw anger on Kisame's face. He weaved hand signs and spat 5 massive shark water bombs. They impacted the Shark Clan army, raising explosive water columns and shredding hundreds of enemies. The hammerhead, however, who was at the epicenter of one of the blasts, stood resolute as blood rain fell back from the sky due to Kisame's jutsu. "Step aside, Suigetsu. That one is mine. Suigetsu had no intention of fighting the Hammerhead, but Kisame dashed at his father, ready to slash him. The Hammerhead also erupted into motion, grabbing his massive jagged sword and met his son's blade with a loud clunk. That was the most brutal sword fight Suigetsu had ever seen. If not parried, every strike could have cleaved a man in half easily.
How dare you come back here to kill your own?
I am no longer a member of your clan. You were the one who sent me into the battle royale.
To make you stronger.
Not to worry, I am stronger. Kisame chopped off his father's hand, and the massive sword flew away following the motion of his arm. That enraged the Hammerhead beyond belief, rushed Kisame without a weapon. Kisame thrust his sword at his father's chest, impaling him, but he missed the heart. The Hammerhead moved to the side at the last second. The Hammerhead then tackled Kisame to the ground. His body was much more massive, and ignoring the sword passing through his chest, he opened his mouth to bite Kisame's head off. Suigetsu thought about going and help, but 4 Sharkmen arrived, and he had to fend off against them. The other Mist ninjas were also too occupied. Now that their numbers had dwindled, Kisame used his arms to keep his father's mouth open centimeters away, but at bay. Thick saliva mixed with Kisame's own blood fell on his face as Kisame put all his strength into stopping his father's bite. His arms wobbled and they were about to give. The hands were mangled by the Hammerhead's teeth, but Kisame pulled back his arms and the Hammerhead lunged forward. However, Kisame was expecting that. He moved his head to the side and his father bit the sandy ground instead. Before the Hammerhead could react, Kisame bit the right side of the Hammerhead's face, yanking a section of the hammer alongside one of the eyes. The Hammerhead screamed in agony, loosening his hold on Kisame, who managed to roll to the side, yanking his sword off his father's chest and standing up. Kisame crunched the piece of his father's skull, saliva and blood running down his chin. His lips were curled into a devious smile. I always knew you taste like trash. Kisame swallowed his father's flesh. The Hammerhead stood up disoriented. The right side of his skull leaked blood and brain matter.
You will pay.
Kisame dashed and jumped. Swinging his sword with a downward motion, he slashed his father from above in the middle of the head and cleaved the massive body in two, vertically. That's for my mother. The shark men all around the battlefield got distracted with the death of their leader. That was a massive blow to their morale. Suigetsu used that moment of hesitation to cut down the remaining shark men attacking him. What did you think about that chop, little Suigetsu? Kisame asked Suigetsu, who was about 20 meters away, as the 2 sections of the Hammerhead fell to the ground in opposite directions. Suigetsu had no time to answer, however. For the lagoon next to the battlefield, a swarm of at least 300 massive sharks appeared from the depths and swam in a great line formation towards the battlefield. Their synchronized formation created a massive wave that crashed beyond shore and engulfed the battlefield. Amayuri attempted to create an ice barrier, but the crashing water destroyed it. It consumed everything. Suigetsu tried to run away from it, but there was no outpacing that tsunami. It hit Suigetsu from behind and dragged him in an insane vortex. He was nothing beneath the force of the water. It turned him into a ragdoll. The wave dragged him to the forest, and Suigetsu hit palm trees one after the other. He tried to grab a hold of them, but they were too slippery, so Suigetsu gripped his sword like his life depended on it. Every time he hit a tree, he lost more air. He was going to drown. If he kept on going, a Hozuki clan member died from drowning. There couldn't be a more pathetic way to die, but he didn't even know what side was up to try and head to the surface. He felt other bodies being dragged with him, no doubt Sharkmen, but Suigetsu had no idea if they were corpses or if they were alive. Regardless, he slashed wildly, using the energy he still had to try and ward them off. Suigetsu more than ever wished he could use the hydrification jutsu. If he could turn into water, the wave would have been no threat, but he hadn't awakened it. So he felt an awful burning sensation on his nose, neck, and chest as he started to breathe water involuntarily. He thrashed in desperation as he kept on hitting trees. His mind was going dark, his consciousness about to fade, and that was when he had a final idea. Something he should have thought from the beginning. The next time Suigetsu hit a tree, he knew where it was, regardless of of his true orientation and swung his sword at it with all the strength he had left. The sword cleaved at the tree and embedded itself on it. The power of the water tried to drag Suigetsu away, but he held on to his sword for dear life. His grip was slipping, losing every ounce of air he still had in him to keep on holding that sword, sticking to the tree. But the wave was too much for a 7-year-old boy. He let go, leaving his sword behind. The wave dragged him further. That was it. Suigetsu knew he didn't have many more seconds of conscience left. The wave was going to claim him. But he rolled on the ground with no more water around him. Suigetsu turned his head down and coughed up what felt like a whole gallon of water. He had managed to hold on to his sword almost till the end of the wave. When he let go, instead of the water taking him, it left him behind. There were a few sharkmen corpses nearby, some killed in battle and others by the wave itself. That was a crazy strategy. Suigetsu didn't know if those guys could breathe underwater, but even if they could, the force of the wave alone was brutal. They probably only resort to this crazy tactic because their leader died. He knew he was extremely lucky to survive that. A shark man appeared out of nowhere, screaming and swinging a bone club at him. Suigetsu rolled to the side and ran towards the tree where his sword was embedded. It had cleaved halfway through the trunk. Suigetsu was lucky the tree he hit was thick, otherwise he would have chopped the whole thing off and the wave would have taken him. He yanked the sword out of the tree and spun in a powerful circular motion as the shark man swung his club at him. The steel cut through the bone of the club and slashed the shark man's stomach in a single strike, causing his guts to spill out. Suigetsu quickly stabbed him in the heart, ending the man's suffering. And now he had to find the other mist ninjas. He knew his brother would be alright because of the hydrification jutsu, and at least some of the others would probably survive the wave as well if Suigetsu managed. So he walked towards the general direction the wave went, pulling a whetstone out of his satchel. He needed to resharpen and fix his blade. It had taken a lot of abuse. If Suigetsu needed to fight more, his sword had to be in the best condition possible. He walked, fixing his sword for about 20 minutes when he reached a peculiar location. It was a relatively large village of primitive huts. The wave had passed here, but it didn't do too much damage. It had probably lost its power by the time he got to it. Oh, damn it. That's where they live. Suigetsu told no one in particular. A roar came from behind Suigetsu. He swirled around in time to parry an incoming strike. This time, it wasn't a shark man, but a shark kid, probably about Suigetsu's age. He quickly slashed the kid's neck, killing him. More kids emerged from the forest around him, and some came out of the huts in the city, accompanied by female shark people and elderly as well. Suigetsu saw a decent amount of females in the battlefield, but he assumed a good portion of them had remained behind, with the young and the elderly as well. Damn it! Why were they attacking Suigetsu? It didn't matter. His brother's words echoed in his mind. Kill everything that moves. And so Suigetsu did. The adrenaline hadn't worn off, and he used that to power his actions. He felt no pain from his wounds, and he became even faster. He had better training, and he knew what to do to kill. Even though they attempted to swarm Suigetsu, he could cut through them, opening space in the battlefield and moving around, slashing at kids, women, elders. Most of their weapons weren't even battlefield grade, but improvised. Arms fell off, blood gushed everywhere. It was either Suigetsu or them. When children stumbled and fell, Suigetsu simply slashed at their heads when they were defenseless. He needed to take advantage of everything he could. After who knows how long, bodies began to pile up, and the bout made its way into the village itself. Suigetsu knew he was tired, but he simply pushed through in order to survive. He allowed himself to hate them, to despise the enemy, to kill them more, slashing through their flesh. His brother had pushed him a lot during training, so he knew what he had to do, and he did it well. Eventually, the shark people became discouraged. They struck some glancing blows at Suigetsu, but they were unable to take him down, and so they fled. Fueled by adrenaline and hatred, Suigetsu gave chase. He went after an adult woman who managed to give him a cut to his calf. She got into a hut and locked the door behind her, but Suigetsu slashed the wood and broke the door down. Upon invading the hut, he saw the woman with a terrified yet fierce expression. She jumped at Suigetsu wielding a rudimentary knife and screamed with sheer hatred. Suigetsu cut off her knife hand and he quickly changed the trajectory of his sword, thrusting into her open mouth, piercing the throat. The blade exited the back of her neck, and the woman dropped dead instantly. quietly. That's when Suigetsu heard crying coming from the back of the hut. It was a small single-room building, and he realized there was a primitive cradle on the other side. Suigetsu turned pale and approached it. There he saw a tiny blue baby, no older than a month. "Kill everything that moves," his brother's words echoed in his mind once more. But seeing that baby made Suigetsu wake from that weird state of stupor he had been in. He hadn't been thinking or even feeling while fighting. He was just killing, surviving. Suddenly he felt pain all over his body from the bite he took on the shoulder, from hitting the trees. But that wasn't the worst part, for Suigetsu realized what he had done. He'd killed dozens, if not hundreds of children, women, and elderly. They were attacking Suigetsu, but he could have just fled. There was no need to engage them. Suigetsu could certainly have outrun them. His breathing became erratic, and his heart beat fast, much faster than he had beaten during the battle against the shark warriors. He looked behind himself and saw the corpse of the woman he had just killed. She was just a mother trying to protect her little baby. These people were just trying to survive like Suigetsu, and now this tiny little baby was an orphan because of him. Suigetsu dropped his sword and started to cry. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." He put his hands on his head, pulling his own hair. "You've done a good job, little Suigetsu," Kisame said, appearing on the hut. He walked towards Suigetsu with his blade in a reverse grip. "I understand the baby might be too much for you right now, but relax. This isn't your mission anyway. You've done much more than you were expected to." Kisame raised his arm, looking at the baby with a neutral expression. "Wait! No! Please don't!" Suigetsu jumped in front of the baby with his hands outstretched. "Don't kill him, please! He's no threat!" "Step aside, Suigetsu. You don't have to look." "No, please! He's just a baby. And he looks just like you." "He's right. Stop it, Kisame," Mei said, entering the hut. Kisame lowered his blade, looking at Mei. "I understand the boy not wanting me to kill it, but you, Mei, you know our mission. There are mostly civilians here. We can take them back. We can take the infants and children to the Mist Village, raise them as ninja. We don't have to slaughter them anymore." Lord Mizukage's command was quite clear. We are to exterminate every single one of them if they betrayed us. He did not command us to bring anyone back if that was the case, no matter how inoffensive they may look. "Stop! You're enjoying this, aren't you, you monster?" "The only one I enjoyed killing today was my father. The others are simply part of the mission. I feel nothing towards them." "Don't do it!" Wait, calm down, hold on, what's going on here?" Mangetsu said, entering the hut. "Oh, Suigetsu, you're here! I knew that wave couldn't have taken you. Did you awaken the hydrification jutsu?" Mangetsu was relieved to see his younger brother, but Suigetsu only shook his head. His shock prevented him from speaking. "Mangetsu, stop this madness! Kisame's about to—" Mei couldn't even finish her sentence, and Kisame pierced his blade into the cradle. There was a quick and fragile yelp, and the blade exited the lower part of the cradle, drenched in blood. "No! You monster!" Mei moved to attack Kisame, but Mangetsu held her from behind. In his shock, Suigetsu didn't even realize when Kisame moved to do it. He couldn't bring himself to look at the cradle, and yet he remembered the baby's face. That made Suigetsu vomit. "It had to be done. I have no time for your sentimentality, Mei. We have to go finish the job," Kisame said, exiting the hut. "Let go of me, Mangetsu!" His arms had turned into water to subdue her. "Calm yourself, Mei. This was what Lord Mizukage commanded us to do." "I don't accept it. I can't!" Mei cried, tears of hatred and sorrow. "Calm down. That's why you have a terrible reputation among our ninjas." "I don't care about my reputation, and how can you stand for this?" "You know what happens to those who disobey Lord Mizukage's orders." "I don't care. I'll kill him myself." "Mei!" Mangetsu raised his voice beyond hers. That surprised Suigetsu. His brother hardly ever shouted or lost his temper. "I will not report what you just said, but you know what would be the consequences if I did. So please calm yourself. I know you're emotional. I know why. You shouldn't have come to this mission. Go back to the boat. We will finish the job here. You don't have to be involved anymore." "Yes, I shouldn't have come here, but Yagura sent me me here on purpose. He meant to test me, to put me through this. He wants me to betray him. He just wants an excuse to kill. He knows I'm right. He cannot have me in the village, so he has to kill me, doesn't he? And that is why you have to behave. If you die, what happens to your sister? That calmed Mei down. She breathed in deeply and stopped crying. I'm going back to the boat. Please take Suigetsu with you. We'll return once it is done. Suigetsu could barely move. He was trembling, but he stood up and joined Mei. He had to walk through the village street where dozens of shark people's corpses laid. People he had killed. The way back to the boat was silent. Mei didn't utter a single word, and neither did Suigetsu. When they reached the beach, they came across a group of shark men. No, it wasn't just a group, it was a family. The father saw them and immediately grabbed his rudimentary metal sword. He was bleeding and had acid marks on his skin from Mei's ninjutsu. He had survived the initial battle. Suigetsu and Mei looked at each other. Go! Run away! She said. The man was confused, but when he realized the two didn't attack, he put away his sword and took his family into the ocean, swimming away. Suigetsu and Mei came to a silent understanding. They wouldn't tell anyone about that family. If there was a little bit they could salvage from the brutality of this day, it was a single scared family that ran away. Let me take at your wound, Mei told Suigetsu after they got to the boat. I'm not a medic ninja, but that bite looks nasty. And the battalion's medic ninja got cut in half by the hammerhead. Suigetsu lowered his shirt and Mei started to apply first aid with a kit they had on the boat. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kill them. It's not your fault, boy. Your foolish brother dragged you into this. Don't say a word about him. He's being really nice to you. Mei sighed. I suppose you're right. But he was irresponsible bringing you here. Or are you going to tell me you're enjoying the experience? Suigetsu didn't say anything. I disinfected the wound. It will still be painful, but when we get back to the village, the medics will take care of it. I'm sorry about your brother. Mei paused for a moment, and then she looked at Suigetsu's eyes. He had never seen such a beautiful and otherwise composed woman looking so sad. I appreciate your sympathy. She stood up and left for another compartment. It took several hours for the others to return to the boat. They arrived late in the evening, and only 5 out of the 12 Jonins had survived. Mangetsu, Kisame, Mei, Amayuri, and another man alongside Suigetsu. They managed to salvage the bodies of 3 of their comrades. The others were completely consumed. Let's get going. It's done, Mangetsu said. Kisame used his water style to propel the ship. He had the most chakra and could take them all the way back to the Mist Village. Suigetsu couldn't sleep that night. He stayed on the deck thinking about what he had done, about the final yelp of that baby. I know this was a rough day, but you did great, Suigetsu. I'm glad I brought you. His brother touched his shoulder, and they stared at the dark waves. I don't want to be a ninja anymore. Suigetsu started crying again. I don't want to kill. Suigetsu, you don't have a choice. What do you mean? I can't do this anymore. We are from a powerful clan that carries a KK Genkai. All members of such clans are demanded by the Mizukage to enroll in the Ninja Academy and take the graduation exam. The last clan that disobeyed that order was the Yuki clan, and they were hunted down for their betrayal. But why? It's not fair. To preserve the power of the mist. I brought you here for you to experience the hardships of life, of shinobi life. I only meant for you to watch that battle royale, which would be brutal by itself, and I didn't think the Shark Clan would betray us. But I believe this served as a lesson, a big one. You have to be ready, Suigetsu. Life is unfair, terrifying, and brutal, and it will be full of sadness and sorrow. What you experienced today was exactly that. What if I just leave the village? Then you'd be considered a rogue. The Ambo huntsman will track you down and eliminate you. Why? The secrets of our village cannot fall into enemy hands, especially the body of someone who possesses a KK Genkai like you. Suigetsu lowered his head. He felt defeated, condemned to a terrible life ahead of him. I know you don't like this, Suigetsu, but it's what you have to do. But I'll always be here for you, for anything. Suigetsu nodded. He wiped away his tears. He had to endure that life. His parents did so. His brother was doing so right now, so Suigetsu had to do so as well. But he would do everything not to take another life. Suigetsu laid in a boring hospital bed. He shared a room with a dozen other people, mostly shinobi, but there were civilians there as well. The medic ninjas had taken care of the wounds he sustained in Shark Island, and now he just wanted to get out of that place. So many hurt people, he winced whenever he saw them. He remembered the baby. He'd been having nightmares about it ever since. Even though the squadron sent to the island lost 7 of its 12 members, according to his brother, the Mizukage still considered the mission a success. They wiped out an eyesore to the Mist Village and the Land of Water. That Mizukage, if he was there, he wouldn't think it was a success, Suigetsu thought. The room fell quiet, and Suigetsu could hear whispering all around as Yagura, the 4th Mizukage, entered the room with Mangetsu by his side. It was as if thinking about the man summoned his presence. Well, man was too strong of a word. Yagura looked no older than 12, even though Suigetsu heard he was already an adult. He looks like you, the Mizukage told Mangetsu as he eyed Suigetsu, who perked up as they were approaching his bed. You have survived a great ordeal, boy. I'm looking forward to seeing what you'll be capable of. Suigetsu nodded nervously. Introduce yourself, Suigetsu, his brother prompted him with a brisk wave of his hand. Hello, I'm Suigetsu Hozuki, Lord Mizukage. Yagura barely acknowledged what Suigetsu said. His eyes were strange. It was almost as though he wasn't fully there. Say, when will you start the academy? Next week, sir. Very well, he said and left without elaborating. So strange. That man didn't strike Suigetsu as a brutal and merciless ruler, but everything indicated he was. He was the one forcing people from established clans like Suigetsu to become ninjas regardless of what they wanted to do, and the one ordering the elimination of entire populations. I think he liked you, Mangetsu said. What do you mean? He didn't care about me at all. Lord Mizukage is a bit eccentric. I'm glad I brought him here to take a look at you. Now, you just have to make sure you pass the academy exams. Yeah, I know, but that's years from now. I know, so you better not slack off. And I told you before, we don't have a choice. And trust me, it's much better to be strong than to be weak. Isn't that obvious? It may not be as obvious as you think. A week later, Suigetsu started the Ninja Academy. The classes were intense, but Suigetsu was ready. He was the top student of the class when it came to combat capabilities, having trained a lot with his brother beforehand, who now started teaching him water-style ninjutsu. A girl in his class caught his attention. Kai Terumi, Mei's sister. She looked just like her, but younger, and she was always sad. She never talked to anyone and never seemed enthusiastic about anything, especially when it came to practicing combat skills. She always ranked last in those. Some classmates made fun of her, which made Suigetsu mad. He knew why she was like that. Her brother had died recently, and she also lost her parents. Kai's eyes were just like Suigetsu's. They had seen horror, and after 2 weeks of class, he had never seen her lips curling into a smile. So Suigetsu made a decision. He would make her laugh. Somehow he would lift at least a bit of the horror from her eyes. Her sister Mei had been very helpful to Suigetsu, but that wasn't why Suigetsu was helping. He just wanted to make her life less miserable. Hey, do you wanna go train with me after class? Suigetsu asked Kai with a smile. She looked at him and turned away. Oh, come on, I wanna help you. She said nothing. Kai, I'm not gonna make fun of you. I wanna make sure they won't make fun of you anymore. She stood up and left. This is gonna be more difficult than I thought. The next day, Suigetsu once again tried to talk to her, but she said nothing. And now that he thought about it, Suigetsu didn't even know how her voice sounded. Kai, please, say something. I just want to be friends. I want to help. Leave me alone. She screamed and left once more. Well, at least she said something today. The next day, Suigetsu arrived early to the academy and waited for her to arrive. He stood at the entrance gate, and when she was about to pass by, Suigetsu said, Morning! How about some training after class? I told you to leave me alone. I'll only leave you alone if you talk to me. That doesn't make sense. How is the leaving? Let's do something fun after a class, alright? If you don't want to train, we can just do something cool. No, she said, turning away. During class, Suigetsu tried to send her a paper plane, but the sensei tossed a kunai and intercepted it mid-air. The blade landed on the wall right next to Suigetsu's head. This is not a place to play around, Suigetsu. Detention! You will stay later tonight. Some of the classmates laughed. Not Kai, though, which made Suigetsu sigh. After class ended, the sensei made Suigetsu kneel on corn kernels for 5 hours, until late in the evening. It hurt a lot, but Suigetsu didn't mind the pain too much. He spent that time trying to figure figure out a way to make Kai smile. And the sensei almost seemed impressed by Suigetsu's resilience. While making his way home through the misty alleyways of the village, by chance, he saw Kai Terumi. She was hiding in a corner, in a dark alleyway in the fetal position, and she whimpered quietly. No way, she's crying all by herself out here at night? Suigetsu thought, and he almost cried for her. Kai, he said, and she looked up. Her eyes were red and her clothes were wet with tears. I told you to get away. You can talk to me. You don't have to stay here alone in the dark. Go away! Suigetsu weaved hand signs and shot a blast of water out of his palms towards Kai's face. The water splashed, drenching her entirely. What did you do that for? She stood up furious. I don't know. Felt like it. He smiled and shot water again, splashing her a second time. You idiot! Kai ran after Suigetsu, who bolted away. You're just like the others, making fun of me. I hate you! Suigetsu was faster than her. They ran through the mist village, and he made sure not to go too fast so Kai wouldn't lose him in the fog. Come back here! No! Suigetsu shot more water at Kai, splashing her face as she ran. Eventually, Suigetsu ran into a dead end in an alleyway. There was nowhere to go. He looked up and wished he had learned how to walk on walls to escape, but no, he didn't have to escape. He had to make sure she would laugh. Kai reached him and was right in front of Suigetsu. She was panting, and her face was a mix of sorrow and fury. She raised her hands, clenching her fists as if to punch Suigetsu, but she trembled and stopped herself. Her body coiled into the fetal position again, and she started to cry profusely. She wasn't even confident or strong enough, or she just didn't have the willingness to do anything against Suigetsu even after he splashed her. After catching up to him, she just couldn't move anymore. Kai, please, leave me alone. This time her voice was quiet. Only if you look up at me. Kai acquiesced, slowly turning her head up, and Suigetsu once more pointed his palms at her. But at the last second, he twisted his wrists and directed his palms at himself, unleashing now a full-powered water splash. The water impacted Suigetsu's face, and the power of the blow sent Suigetsu spinning backwards like a ragdoll. He hit the wall behind him with a grunt and fell to the ground. Oh my god, are you okay? Kai ran to him as Suigetsu grunted on the ground. She kneeled next to him. Not much. Ow. Why did you do that? Now we're even. You're splashed. I'm splashed. You know, I didn't want to be left out. Kai put her hand in front of her mouth, closing her eyes. She tried to contain herself, but she blurted out in laughter. Suigetsu couldn't help but to smile. He did it. He's gonna be feeling that tomorrow, but he did it. Stand up. You shouldn't stay on the ground. Suigetsu did so with another grunt. But now we're all wet and it's kind of cold. Well, I can help with that. I can control water, you know, a little bit. Not great yet, but I'm getting there. Suigetsu weaved hand signs, and he made the water drenching both of them coalesce into a hovering orb, drying them. Whoa, that's cool. Kai leaned close to the orb, and Suigetsu smirked. He commanded the orb to splash in her face again. Why'd you do that? Sorry, I couldn't resist. You idiot! She raised her arms, and this time she punched Suigetsu over a dozen times. But they were not strikes meant to hurt. They were much more playful than anything. And he once again drained the water out of her clothes, drying her with his water-style ninjutsu. Well, now I know that you can smile. I'm so glad I did it. I'm sorry. You actually seemed kinda nice. It's just that... It's okay! Suigetsu grabbed her hand, and Kai blushed. When Suigetsu realized what he did, he blushed as well. You know, the offer's still up. We can train together if you want, and next time if someone makes fun of you in class, I'm gonna punch them. Please don't punch anyone. But they have to learn a lesson, and your skills, I mean, they're gonna be fine. I wasn't very good at the beginning either, and I got much more practice than you before, so you can get there. We can do it together. And even if you're not a genius, you can improve. It's just that I don't want to be a ninja, but my sister told me I have to. Suigetsu nodded. I understand. I'm the same, actually. I don't want to be a ninja, but my brother says I have to. I guess it's because we are from famous clans or whatever. So, you know, if we have to be ninjas, it'll be better if we do it together, right? Kai nodded. I'm scared. My older brother, there was an accident during the academy training, and he died. And my parents, they both died in shinobi missions. I miss them, and I'm also afraid of dying. I don't want to end up like that. My brother's body, I'm never gonna forget that. It was mangled. I'll be there for you, Kai. I'll protect you, and if we stick together, we can make through the academy. It's gonna be fun even. But why? Why do you care about me? My parents also died during a mission, and now my brother takes care of me, just like your sister takes care of you. I just, well, have that connection, I guess. Kai nodded and smiled through her tears. Right, I think that would be nice. The rumble of an explosion hit their ears. The shockwave disturbed the mist around them. They heard shouts and weapons clashing. Those clashes came from the same direction they came from. The only direction they could go out of the alleyway. Suigetsu never wished to know how to walk on walls more than now. What the hell? Oh, come on. We have to get out of here, Kai. He pulled her by the hand. I have to get out of this alleyway and I have to get to an open part of town. What the hell is happening? An explosion? Inside of the village? Suigetsu thought as an imposing figure landed right in front of them. He felt a tingle in the back of his neck. That figure, it was a man. Zabuza Momochi, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. He carried the massive executioner's blade and it was drenched in blood, just like his entire body. Suigetsu locked eyes with him. No, that feeling. The creature standing in front of him wasn't a man. It was a demon. Suigetsu's legs turned into jello. He had to put all his willpower into remaining standing. With his weak legs, Suigetsu put himself in front of Kai, blocking her from the demon, and he unsheathed his sword, which wobbled like a thin twig in a storm. He pointed it at Zabuza, and the size difference between their swords was comical. Zabuza kept his gaze fixated on Suigetsu, and he narrowed his frightening eyes. They turned towards Suigetsu's trembling blade. Zabuza mumbled something Suigetsu didn't understand and jumped up, passing above them and zigzagged on the sides of the alleyway. 3 mist ambus came rushing from the rooftops of the houses on the alleyway, and they pounced at Zabuza, but Suigetsu just knew that was a horrible idea. "Don't look," he told Kai, covering her eyes with his hands. But Suigetsu looked. Above on the rooftops, it took only 5 seconds for Zabuza to cleave the 3 ambu, cutting them in half. The remains fell trailing blood and landed in the alleyway below with disgusting impact sounds. "Come on, let's go!" Suigetsu pulled Kai. His legs were weak, but he managed to move. When they finally exited the alleyway, Suigetsu saw more signs of battle. Small craters and dead mist ninjas were scattered in front of them. "Kai, where do you live?" "Near the market district, but my sister's on a mission. No one is home." "It's okay, you can stay the night with us." When they got to Suigetsu's home, his brother wasn't there either. Maybe my brother's on a mission as well. I can take her back home then. "No, I don't want to stay alone." "But I mean, are you sure?" "Yes, please let me stay." "Of course." Suigetsu prepared the couch in the small living room of his home for Kai to sleep on. "What happened out there?" Kai was still very frightened. "I have no idea, but we should go to bed now. It's getting late, and it's gonna be fine tomorrow. Good night." Suigetsu motioned to leave, but Kai grabbed his wrist. "Please stay till I fall asleep." Yeah, of course." She laid on the couch, and Suigetsu sat next to her. Kai held his hand and closed her eyes. Suigetsu couldn't help but to keep on looking at her face. "Morning," Mangetsu said. Suigetsu opened his eyes and realized he had fallen asleep on the living room floor, and Kai was on the couch. Suigetsu stood up quickly. "Where's Kai?" "Don't worry. I mean, I was surprised when I got here and saw her, so I took her back home. Her sister arrived from her mission earlier today. That little girl, she was exhausted. She didn't even wake up when I ferried her over." "Oh, okay." Suigetsu sat down on the couch. He blushed, realizing Kai had been sleeping there, and he blushed even more when he realized they slept practically next to each other. "Wow. I never thought you'd get yourself a girlfriend this early. Good for you." Suigetsu blushed even more. "She's not my girlfriend, it's just that we were on the street last night and something happened. I saw Zabuza killing mist ninjas, and she was way too scared to stay home alone, so I took her here, and I mean, I thought you would be home." "Oh, you saw Zabuza? How do you look?" "Like a monster. I thought he was gonna cut me in half." Mangetsu narrowed his eyes. "You're lucky he didn't. Over 20 mist ninjas died last night. What the hell happened?" "Zabuza attempted to assassinate Lord Mizukage. I have no idea why." Suigetsu could think of a few possibilities as to why, but he decided not to say anything. Thankfully, Lord Mizukage survived. Zabuza is a master assassin, probably the best in our village, and it was a very close call. When I heard those noises, I left to investigate. Sorry to leave you alone. I had to take care of business when I was out. "That's fine. Did they find Zabuza?" "No, he fled the village and took one of the ninja swords with him." Mangetsu sighed. "Hopefully the Ambu hunters will retrieve it, but he's pretty strong and I have no idea where he's gonna go." "Can't you use your scroll to summon it?" "Nope, he broke my summoning contract with the sword. The elders are furious with me. Having a ninja swordsman going rogue and losing the precious weapon. Lord Mizukage thankfully didn't seem too worried. He knows I'm trustworthy, and he actually looked amused, even though he almost died, killed by Zabuza. That guy's a weirdo. Don't badmouth the leader of our village, Suigetsu. Suigetsu. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, are you good friends with Mei's sister? Well, I think we became friends. How strong is she? She's actually at the bottom of the class. She doesn't have much talent, so I offered to train with her after classes. Do you think she could get really strong? I mean, I don't know, but why? Mei is very strong. She has 2 KK Genkai that she inherited from the Terumi clan. Her brother was not very strong though. He never got a KK Genkai. So I wonder what's the deal gonna be with his sister? Do you think she has potential like you? I don't think so. She's good with studying books and stuff, but when it comes to combat, she always struggles. That's why I wanna help her with training, you know? Even if she doesn't turn out to be top of the class, she's gotta improve. Mangetsu looked awfully thoughtful, but he nodded. Of course, you should pursue that friendship. You can support her. And if she ever awakens a KK Genkai, I wanna know. Why? Because it's very dangerous, so if she awakens it, I wanna know so I can prepare you for that. Oh, cool, yeah. Make sure you treat her well in the academy and work with her there as well. I think you two can get along. Yeah, of course. The next day in the academy was awkward. For some reason, Suigetsu couldn't look or talk to Kai. It was so easy to do that before. Why was he so tense now? In the afternoon, the students were taken outside to practice shuriken throwing, and he thought he would be able to talk to her there, but still, he couldn't. Every time she got close to him, Suigetsu averted his gaze and walked away. During shuriken practice, Suigetsu hit his targets well, with a large percentage of the shuriken striking the center. He observed Kai intently when she wasn't looking, and what Suigetsu saw wasn't very encouraging. She was pretty terrible at tossing shuriken. They hardly ever hit the target at all, and they traveled the air without much speed and a weird jiggle. Ha! My grandma throws better than you! You're so trash! One of the boys of the class said, making fun of Kai. Suigetsu clenched his fists, and Kai lowered her head in shame. What? Are you too scared to toss a little shuriken? I think you should just give up right now. You'd never survive as a ninja. Tears fell down her cheek. Aww, are you gonna cry now? Did it hurt your feet? Suigetsu slapped him across the face with all his strength. The clap echoed around the academy courtyard, and the blow sent the boy to the ground with a red cheek. What was that for? I'm gonna tell my older brother. You're gonna... Suigetsu stepped on his mouth, putting his shoe into it and pressing down, pinning his head to the ground. The boy shrieked and wailed his arms and legs. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you saying something about your brother? I couldn't understand you. Didn't he teach you not to speak with your mouth full? The class erupted into laughter. Go ahead, tell your big bro, and I'll tell mine. He's the leader of the 7 Ninja Swordsmen. Ever heard of him? The boy cried in desperation and humiliation with Suigetsu's foot in his mouth. Next time you speak a word to Kai, it's not gonna be my foot in there, it's gonna be my sword. Do you get it? The boy nodded, with his head still pinned to the ground, and Suigetsu lifted his foot. He stood up with a bleeding mouth and a few missing teeth. Whoopsie! Suigetsu said with a smirk. The boy ran away crying like a baby and left the academy premises to the amusement and laughter of the class. The sensei stopped beside Suigetsu, towering over him. Oh great, more detention, he thought. But the sensei gave Suigetsu a curt nod and walked away. Huh? No detention? He's fine with that? Okay then, Suigetsu thought, smiling. Kai, however, stood close to him and looked scared. Perhaps Suigetsu had been a little bit too brutal. I mean, you told me not to punch anyone. I didn't punch him. Kai barked to laugh despite herself. Alright everyone, shuriken practice is over. Let's head back in, the sensei said. After class, Suigetsu finally managed to speak to Kai again as they headed back home. Are you alright, Kai? Yes. That jerk? Why was he saying those things to you? It makes no sense. I think he just wanted to feel good about himself. Yeah, well, I don't think he felt so good, did he? Besides, I don't think anybody's gonna ever mess with you again. Yes, thanks to what you did. Kai was reserved. She seemed worried. Is everything alright? Like, really? Why you told him? You said you'd kill him if he kept on bothering me. Did you mean that? Not really. I mean, I said that so he'd be too scared to even try, and anybody else for that matter, but it sounded so real, like a promise. I don't want you to become a killer because of me. Suigetsu lowered his head. I already am one. What? My brother took me to a mission as an observer. I wasn't supposed to fight or anything, but things went wrong and we got ambushed. I had to kill several people. I didn't even realize what I was doing. But you did that because you had to survive, right? Well, yeah, at first. But then I just kept on going, kept killing. I didn't have to keep killing, but I did. I was just going. Kai was shocked. She didn't say anything. I killed way more than I had to, but killing is just what ninjas do, I suppose. They say every ninja has to do it eventually. I don't want to. Well, I don't want either. That's why I promised I would never ever kill again. But I don't think I can keep that promise. Yesterday when I saw Zabuza, I thought about killing him to save you. Of course, I would never be able to actually kill him because he's so much stronger, but the thought came to me. I guess I'm just corrupted or something, I don't know. No, you were trying to protect me. I saw you standing in front of me. You were very brave. I froze. I couldn't even move. Why do things have to be like that? So much violence. Kai started to cry. I don't want to live like this. I don't have talent, and I'm gonna be a terrible ninja. Suigetsu grabbed her hand. I told you, we can do this together. I will not kill again. I will find another way, and you won't have to do it either. For that, we have to get strong, you know? It's better to be strong than to be weak. Kai nodded. You know, you cried today when they were making fun of you, but you never cried before. Did something else happen? Kai blushed, and she turned her face away from Suigetsu. You were not looking at me the whole day. You didn't say a word. You were avoiding me. I thought you hated me. So when he told me those things, I just couldn't control my tears. That hit Suigetsu like a dagger to the heart. Before he realized, he found himself hugging Kai very tightly. I'm so sorry. No, of course I don't hate you. I was just embarrassed. Kai hugged him back. Never do that again, you idiot. Suigetsu and Kai began to practice their skills every day after the academy. Kai always brought some food from both of them because she lived close to the markets. Weeks passed by and she slowly improved. Kai would never reach Suigetsu's level, but he was glad she could get better. He was also glad he could spend so much time with her. Suigetsu was always eager for classes to end so he could practice with Kai. I'll never get even close to my sister, Kai said after a long training session. They both laid on the grass beneath a tree in the training grounds. Why do you say that? She has my mom's magma release and my dad's vapor release, too, Keiki Genkai. She's really strong in every ninja ability, and I didn't get those things. I'll never be like her. You don't have to be like her, you know? But then she'll always be worried about me. You know, I've been lying to her. She would never let me train by myself with another classmate. I've been telling my sister that I'm staying longer in the academy studying overtime. Really? Yeah, if she found out she'd be furious and she would probably forbid me to see you again. Suigetsu smiled. Then let's not get found out. It's not funny. I know how you feel, Kai. My brother's also really strong. At least he lets you do things. He even took you on a mission, and I wish he hadn't. Kai regretted saying that to Suigetsu. Thank you, Suigetsu. I really like training with you. It's much better than training in the academy. She held his hand as they both laid on the grass. Suigetsu closed his eyes and enjoyed the cool night breeze. You know, one day I'll live somewhere nice and peaceful, just like this. Somewhere I'll do this the whole day. No fighting, no violence. That would be really nice. So you want to flee the village? Well, I want to, yeah, but I know that I can't. But you know, the village won't stay like this forever. Maybe one day they'll relax the rules. And if not, at least I'll do this when I retire. Miss Ninjas can only retire after they turn 65. Really? That's a long time. You didn't know this? Haven't you been paying attention in class? No, book stuff's so boring. I'm gonna have to help you studying for written exams, won't I? Suigetsu smiled with glee. It's gonna be fun. But 65? That's a long time. Only 1 out of every 10 Miss Ninjas ever gets that old. The others all die. That sent a shiver through Suigetsu's spine. When he thought about it, it certainly seemed true. There weren't many old Miss Ninjas. His parents were proof of that. Well, their deaths. He couldn't look worried for Kai though, so he put up a brave face. We're gonna make it though. I'll make sure of it. So you can live a relaxed life? Yep, Kai pouted. What? She turned her head away from him and let go of his hand. I bet you will enjoy yourself. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Don't you like this? We're gonna do all kinds of cool things like this. Kai quickly turned back towards him and held his head again. We? You mean we're gonna do this? Of course, we're gonna be together. Kai blushed furiously, and so did Suigetsu after he realized what he said. They didn't say another word to each other that night, but the silence was not unpleasant. What's wrong? Suigetsu asked his brother when he got home. He knew something was bothering Mangetsu because he was doing the characteristic slight frown at the forehead. Mangetsu gave an unnaturally long sigh. You'll find out sooner or later. Might as well tell you now. I lost another of the 7 swords. What? You did? Which one? Samehada. I'm sorry. I know you wanted that one. Really? Wow, was it really your fault? Did Fuguki leave the village like Zabuza? No. Fuguki is dead. Kisame killed him. And after that, he He stole the sword and left the village. He was spotted fleeing with Samehara, and later we found Fugoki's body. I mean, if Kisame killed him, it's not your fault. I'm just kinda shocked that Kisame did it. He seemed pretty loyal to the village, at least in the Shark Island. Yes, that's what worries me. Kisame was the most loyal man I've ever known, and he betrayed us. The elders are furious, and we are down 2 swords. Why are they defecting like this? Are they idiots betraying the village? Once more, Suigetsu chose not to speak, but he could think of a dozen reasons as to why they would want to leave and betray the village. His brother, however, seemed very devout to the Mist Village and the Mizukage. Somehow, Suigetsu never developed that loyalty. The 2 brothers were alike in many aspects, but total opposites in others. You really care about the village, huh? Of course I do. It's my duty as a Mist Ninja, and it's gonna be yours as well, to carry on and protect our legacy. And also, I want to achieve my dream. Your dream? Yes, to become Mizukage. Since when? Since I was a kid, I guess. I always wanted to be Mizukage, just never told anyone really. But now, I feel like I'm very strong, and if I keep on getting stronger, I could be Mizukage. That was a good thing. If Mangetsu ever became Mizukage, he could certainly let Suigetsu leave the village with Kai, or at least allow them not to be ninjas. Alright, that's a great dream. I'll support you any way I can. Mangetsu patted Suigetsu's forehead. Thank you, little bro. Mangetsu smiled. My brother wants to be Mizukage one day. I think that's nice. If he's Mizukage, you know, he could free us in a way. Suigetsu told Kai as they were heading back home after an evening training session. Wow, that's a great goal. And your brother's strong. I'll be rooting for him. They heard a loud scream. It startled Kai. Suigetsu looked around them, trying to find where it came from, and he saw a woman. She was killed by a man a dozen meters behind them. The killer was a man with dark, long hair tied in weird braids, wearing white robes. He wielded a white sword that seemed to be made out of bone. What the? Suigetsu unsheathed his sword, looking at the man. Civilians all around them started to run away in utter shock. Mist ninjas jumped to intercept him, but they were shot by small bone projectiles. They fell dead on the ground. The bones were shot by another man who looked similar to the first one. They had unhinged expressions on their faces. They seemed to be enjoying themselves, and their eyes were bloodshot. Before more Mist ninjas could arrive, screams of pain and agony erupted all around the village, and with those screams came laughter, the laughter of the ones killing. Come on, Kai, we gotta hide! Suigetsu grabbed her by the hand and ran. He did everything he could to slip unnoticed through the chaos. Hundreds of those weird people using their bones as weapons raided the village. Shuriken, bones, and ninjutsu flew in all directions as the battle raged. Suigetsu blocked several projectiles with his sword, protecting himself and Kai, who he still held with his other hand. What's happening? She screamed in tears. The village's getting attacked. We have to get out of the battlefield. Suigetsu thought about seeking shelter inside a building, but these barbarians were setting them on fire. They killed and died with unhinged smiles on their faces. I have to take Kai to safety, no matter what. Suigetsu thought as he saw a boy, not much older than himself, killing one Mist ninja after the other, including Jonin's. His movements were elegant and precise. He used bone attacks, but unlike the others, his hair was white, and his eyes and face were calm, emotionless. It was absolutely bad news. Suigetsu would have no chance against that angel of death. Over here! Suigetsu pulled Kai to a narrow alleyway to avoid that boy. The buildings to the right caught on fire, so Suigetsu put himself between Kai and the fire, using his ninjutsu to drench both of them and protect her from the flames. They kept running until they reached a garden, but the grass wasn't green, it was red, stained in blood. Dozens of corpses laid there from both ninjas and civilians, and one of the invaders pierced a dying woman's back with his hand. She yelped in pain on the ground as the end of his fingers, which he turned into sharp claw-like extensions, entered her back. After killing her, he stood up and smiled, looking at Suigetsu. The alleyway behind them burned with rage, so they couldn't go back. Oh, I got 2 more kids to play with. That's perfect, the man said. The midsection of the top of his head was bald, but the sides of his hair were braided just like the others. His eyes lusted for blood, and Kai let out a weak yelp of terror. Please cry more, little girl. I love it when they cry and beg. Kai, stay behind me. The barbarian pointed his fingers at Suigetsu and shot 5 bone claws at him. Suigetsu swirled his sword, and with a single fast motion, he deflected all 5 of them, sending the bones to different directions. The little boy knows how to fight! That's perfect! A jagged and curved bone blade emerged from his right hand knuckles, and he dashed at Suigetsu, cackling in laughter. Suigetsu met him with his sword. He thought his blade would pierce the bone blade, but it didn't. That was not regular bone. It was so much tougher. The madman swung wildly in a sequence of deranged and powerful strikes. The bone blade was attached to his knuckles, giving him even more force behind the attacks. However, Suigetsu's technique was much more refined than his, so he could redirect the force of his strikes. But that man wouldn't get tired. He just kept attacking. I have to goad him into an overswing strike and counterattack on his opening. I'll make him lower his blade and slash his head. Suigetsu thought and assumed a defensive stance to fight passive. What is this, little boy? Too scared? The man kept on swinging without any care in the world until he raised his blade above his head and smashed it towards Suigetsu. But Suigetsu was ready. He knocked the bone blade to the side, and the overswing knocked the man off balance. Suigetsu jumped and slashed at his head. The steel edge hit his forehead, but it didn't cut through. Rather, the man's skull stopped the extremely sharp blade. Those bones, they were extremely tough. Suigetsu tried to pull back his sword, but he became stuck, wedged in the skull bone. Suigetsu couldn't yank it out, and that left him vulnerable. The bone blade hit Suigetsu, slashing him across the chest, ripping his flesh. He flew back with the force of the blow and fell down, leaving his sword stuck to the man's head. He clutched his chest, trying to stop the bleeding, and Kai came running to him. Suigetsu! Kai, run! I'll buy you as much time as I can! Suigetsu stood up with a pool of blood forming beneath him. He so wished he had awakened the hydrification jutsu now. I'm not leaving you. Never! How cute! You'll both die together! The man tossed his bone blade out of his knuckles like a frisbee. Kai pulled Suigetsu down and he passed above them. I'll fight him. You're too hurt, Suigetsu, and you don't have your sword. No, you can't fight him yet. Please go. Save yourself. I'm not leaving you. The man yanked Suigetsu's sword out of his forehead and snapped the steel blade with his bare hands in half, tossing each part in an opposite direction. Haha! It's so over! Bone claws grew from the man's right hand fingers, and he pierced his own face with them. The bone at the tip of his fingers fused itself with the bone of his skull, and he slowly pulled his own skull out of his face. It was connected to the hand, creating a club. He then extended a long bone out of his arm after pulling his skull completely out, making the club even longer, but still attached to his arm. His face was opened and bleeding. The skull on his head recreated its bone, but the skin on his face wouldn't close, creating an appearance out of nightmares. I'm gonna bash you in like watermelons, he said, brandishing his skull club connected to his arm. Suigetsu once more stood up. You can't fight him like this, Kai pleaded. It's either that or dying without doing anything. Suigetsu pulled a kunai from his satchel. Don't worry, my brother taught me a new jutsu. It just takes me a bit for me to use it. I'm not great with it yet, but I can do it. Suigetsu readied himself. He knew deep inside he had no chance of winning this fight. He was just trying to comfort her. The best he could do was to stall the enemy and hope reinforcements would arrive soon enough, but he would gladly give his life to save Kai's. I have to at least try and create an opening for that jutsu, Suigetsu thought. Come, little boy! Suigetsu roared, pumping himself with adrenaline, and rushed that monster of a man with his kunai. The barbarian swung his skull club at Suigetsu, who ducked, swinging his kunai and piercing the man's chest, but the kunai didn't pierce deep enough. The ribs, they were too rough, and the kunai got caught in it. The man turned his left hand fingers into needles in skeletal form. He slashed at Suigetsu with them, but Suigetsu pulled away, taking his kunai out of his chest, and dodged another club strike. The club was slower than the bone blade before, but Suigetsu was also slower because of the blood loss. As the man kept on swinging his club, his open face spilled out droplets of blood with remnants of muscle and skin. Suigetsu re-engaged, trying to strike with his kunai, but he stumbled. The man smashed his right hand, shattering his hand bones with his club and sending the kunai away. Suigetsu screamed screamed in horrific pain, but his scream was quickly interrupted by a second club strike. The skull club crushed the side of his torso, splintering his ribs, and Suigetsu flew at a wall of the garden. The concrete cracked upon Suigetsu's impact, and he fell to the ground. Blood gushed out of his mouth and nose, and he felt his insides were torn apart. He began to choke on his own blood as more and more came up his throat.
Suigetsu!
Kai screamed. It's too late. He's not gonna help you out anymore, little girl. The man said, turning to Kai with a maniacal smile, ready to strike her. Suigetsu coughed out the blood obstructing his breathing and stood up totally dizzy. A black tunnel was beginning to close around his vision, but he concentrated and pointed his index finger, the one that wasn't mangled, at the man.
Cry, little girl, cry! I enjoy it!
No, please, no!
Yes, cry!
A drop of blood that had splashed on Suigetsu's arm ran along his hand and stopped at the tip of his finger. Only one chance, Suigetsu thought.
What's your last wish, little girl?
Hey, bonehead, I'm still alive. The man turned to Suigetsu in surprise.
Oh, I see. Well, now I'll bash in your skull.
Suigetsu shot the drop of blood right into the man's eye. The bullet entered his brain and his legs bent down as he flopped to the ground after his nervous system shut down. Got him, Suigetsu said, and fell down as well. Everything went dark. Suigetsu slowly opened his eyes. He was surprised to be alive. The last thing he remembered was that abomination of a man swinging a skull club at him. I'm pretty sure I killed that guy though, Suigetsu thought. He was gonna kill Kai! He screamed, sitting up. His body was stiff, and he was in a dark room, a hospital room. A yelp came from the side of his bed. Kai woke up startled with Suigetsu's shout. She had been sleeping on a chair next to him. Kai blinked and stared deeply at Suigetsu. Oh, you woke up! Thank God you're alright. Her eyes became teary and she leapt to hug Suigetsu, breaking into a loud cry. You're alive! You're alive! She said, holding him tight. His body hurt all over, but she wouldn't let go. Suigetsu didn't mind that pain. How long was I out? Almost 2 weeks. Damn, it didn't feel that long. I felt it. It was terrifying. I'm so sorry. If I wasn't so weak, I could have helped you. What? No, you actually helped me. Remember? I'm so sorry. It's okay. I mean, why were you sleeping here though? I slept here every day since they brought you to this room. You didn't have to. Of course I had. I had to make sure they would treat you right when you passed out. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, my sister showed up. She was looking for me and she took you to the hospital. The medic ninjas, they didn't want to treat you because they said you were pretty much already dead. But I screamed and shouted, even though I was crying so hard and loud as I could. They wouldn't listen to me. But thankfully, your brother arrived and convinced the medic ninjas to heal you. The way he spoke to them was terrifying. Well, I'm glad you guys saved me. Thanks a lot. Of course, you saved me. I would be dead if it wasn't for you, so I stayed here to make sure those medic ninjas wouldn't treat you like a sack of meat. You know, your brother is out on missions very often, so he can't be here all the time, but I can. Kai kept on hugging Suigetsu during the entire conversation. Mangetsu visited Suigetsu the following morning. Kai begrudgingly left the room to go to the academy, leaving the brothers alone. You made it, Mangetsu said with a warm smile, patting Suigetsu's head. How do you feel? Sore? Well, if you're just sore, the medic ninjas did a good job. It took some persuading, but everything worked out in the end. Thanks a lot for that. Of course. You think I'd let my little brother die like that? I'll always protect you, Suigetsu. They both smiled. You were brave, very brave, defending Kai like that. It's a shame you haven't yet awakened the hydrification jutsu. That would have made the fight much easier. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever awaken it. You did it when you were younger than me, didn't you? Well, everyone has a different time. You will eventually. But who the hell are those crazy guys anyway? They looked insane, using bones to attack and stuff. The Kaguya clan. Using their bones in battle is their KK Genkai. Or was. We killed them all, essentially. Why did they attack? No apparent reason. They just wanted to cause mayhem. That's just insane. Absolutely they were, but they are all dead now. See, now you understand why we had to do what we did to the Shark clan. Some people cannot be reasoned with. They just have to be killed. Suigetsu didn't feel much better about what happened in Shark Island, but his brother's words made some sense when he remembered the Kaguya clan and their vicious raid. You know, Kai didn't even get hurt. Did she not fight against the raiders? Well, she kinda froze, so she's not stronger by training with you yet. Well, she's getting a bit better, but not much. At least not enough to fight against those guys. I see. Well, you should keep on helping her. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. And I'm pretty sure you don't mind her company either. Yeah, of course I will. Later that afternoon, Suigetsu was surprised by Mei visiting him. Oh, hello! I'm glad you're doing alright. I came here to thank you for saving my sister. Of course, you don't have to thank me, I was just doing my duty. Your duty? You're not even a ninja yet. It's my duty to protect my friends. So you and Kai are friends. Well, yeah. What were you doing together late in the evening with her? Suigetsu felt something off with Mei's tone. She said she came here to thank him, but she didn't look very thankful. She doesn't let Kai be by herself. She probably thinks Kai wasn't just studying in the academy after classes. Damn it, Kai even told me she would be mad if she found out she was training with me. Suigetsu thought, I was just running an errand for my brother when I saw Kai on the street. She told me she was coming back home, so we decided to go back together. That's when the raid happened. Is that bad or something? Suigetsu lied. He wasn't sure if he did a good job because Mei narrowed her eyes. I see. I'm glad you walked together. Have a speedy recovery, Suigetsu. Mei stood up and left. I hope Kai doesn't get in trouble, he thought, looking at the window at the village. There were still signs of the destruction the Kaguya clan caused. Several ninjas and civilians worked to rebuild and repair burned and damaged buildings. Suigetsu was discharged from the hospital later that evening and resumed the academy classes the next morning. He found himself nervous going back to class. He hoped Mei didn't give Kai too much grief. When Suigetsu saw Kai again, he immediately knew something was off. She looked sad and small, as if someone had cut a piece of her soul. What's wrong? Suigetsu asked her during the break. Kai didn't say anything. Oh, come on. I think the time we don't say stuff to each other is over. Kai let out silent tears. My sister, she forbade me to train with you or see you after the academy. Suigetsu lowered his head. Why is she so strict though? I don't understand. I mean, I didn't do anything bad, did I? And you're getting stronger. You're getting better with training. She told me you're a bad influence, that I shouldn't speak with you anymore. Suigetsu's blood boiled. Bad influence? Suigetsu literally saved Kai's life. He was sparring with Kai so she would get better in the academy. How was that being a bad influence? Well, maybe it's just because we were spending too much time together every day. Maybe we can just cut it back a little. No, she told me I was never to see you again. I hate her. Why is she doing this to us? She started to cry harder and hugged Suigetsu. I'm so sorry. She asked me so many questions and I ended up telling her I was training with you after class. That I lied to her about it. I thought she wouldn't mind after you risked your life to save me, but she still did. We can still spend time together after the academy. Your sister will be out on missions a lot of the time, so she doesn't have to know. That's not gonna work. She hired a ninja to look after me when she isn't around. What? She hired a ninja? Yes, he's just a genin, but he's already older and very strict, just like my sister once. I didn't know ninjas could hire other ninjas. You don't pay any attention to the class at all, do you? As long as the Mizukage allows it, anyone can hire a Miss Ninja, even other Miss Ninjas. I mean, if he's just a genin, we can outrun him. He'll tell my sister about it. It's gonna be worse if we do, if I try to do anything about it. I'm sorry, Suigetsu, we can only spend time together at the academy now, at least until we graduate. That's what my sister said. Apparently, she wants me to focus on my studies and you are a distraction, so until I graduate, we can't hang out anymore out of the academy. It's not fair. Suigetsu punched the air. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize. This is not your fault. At least we can, well, still see each other in the academy. Yes, my sister told me not to stay close to you here at all, but you can't control what I do here at least. I know you're not a bad influence. Well, if she thinks I am a bad influence, I should make her believe that at least. What do you mean? You'll see. A few days went by. Suigetsu and Kai kept on talking and training together when they were in the academy. But when they left the academy, Suigetsu observed the man who took Kai back home. He was indeed a ninja wearing the Miss headband, but he didn't look that tough. He was a genin after all. Over the next few weeks, Suigetsu memorized the way they went back home, following them from afar. He was careful not to be noticed, but the genin didn't seem to be great at perceiving stalkers. It felt a little weird following them, but Suigetsu thought Kai wouldn't mind whatsoever. Upon spying on Kai's household several days, Suigetsu had the awful realization that Mei was never home, and the genin stayed with Kai, helping her study and even sometimes training, although Suigetsu could see he was pretty terrible at it. She should be training with me, damn it! This guy's awful! Suigetsu thought, but if the stupid genin was with Kai all the time, he couldn't sneak her out to train. Mei really thought about stuff, didn't she? Damn it, and if I take Kai out once, it's gonna get worse. It's just like she said. So you have a babysitter now, Suigetsu told Kai the next day in the academy. Her face was sour. I don't want to talk about it, but babysitter is a good way to put it. Yeah, I can see you don't like that. Of course I don't. And the stuff he teaches me is so boring. Sometimes we train together, but he's not good like you. It's so annoying. My sister just doesn't understand. She thinks you're a thug or something, even after you saved my life. Well, I told you I was gonna do something about it. I was gonna make her believe that. I've been studying this. Genin, his patterns. Your babysitter is not a very good ninja. Well, good ninjas are expensive, and my sister, she's spending a lot of money on other things lately, so she can't spend too much on a ninja to look after me, because, well, he's looking after me every day, even on weekends. I know. Wait, how do you know? Well, I told you I was studying, so you were spying on me. Suigetsu blushed. Oh, you can't stand not seeing me, can you, Suigetsu? Oh, shut up, Kai chuckled. But I'm sure I can beat that guy, knock him out, and then we can go train ourselves. He's not gonna even see me coming, so he won't know it was me. No, don't do that to Genishi. Oh, so you care about your babysitter now, huh? It's not that. The first time you do that, maybe it's gonna work, but after that it's gonna get worse. My sister's gonna make my life so much more miserable, and besides, he's a Miss Ninja on an official mission. Attacking him to disrupt and interfere with his mission is an extremely severe offense. Especially if you hurt him, it will get you and your brother in a lot of trouble because he is responsible for you. I guess. I didn't know that. You haven't been studying at all, have you? I can't help you that much anymore with your studies. You're gonna have to start reading more. I told you, books are boring. I like real training. Seriously, you cannot attack him. That would be so bad. Okay. I'll do something else then. Something more, harmless, like a gray area. I remember the sensei talking about that word. Gray area. Those are 2 words. Yeah, anyway. You'll see. It's gonna be fun. Kai looked apprehensive, but her lips betrayed a smile of excitement. After class, Suigetsu followed the Genin and Kai as usual, but this time he made sure he would be ahead of them in the street, and he hid in a particularly well-positioned tree going up the canopy. He had learned to walk on vertical surfaces. Suigetsu's heart pumped fast. There was something exciting about doing something like this, being mischievous. When Kai the Genin passed below the tree, Suigetsu pointed his palms at the Genin and shot a splash of water, drenching the man entirely. Ah, what the hell? Suigetsu jumped away to a rooftop above, taking advantage of the Genin's distraction. Kai laughed profusely next to him. Stop laughing! He shouted, but she didn't. Kai couldn't contain herself, and that made Suigetsu feel warm and fuzzy inside. He lingered there, looking down below a bit longer, containing himself not to laugh at the furious Genin. I swear, whoever did this, if I find you, did you know about this girl? Kai simply shook her head. You'll never find me, dude. You are awful, Suigetsu thought, jumping away, undetected. Suigetsu's first rank mission was an utter success. The village couldn't possibly consider drenching a guy in attack, and that would make Kai's spirits lift a little bit. There were many more to come. That was hilarious, Kai told Suigetsu the next day. She was smiling so much, and that was exactly what Suigetsu wanted to see. I don't know what you're talking about, Suigetsu said with a smirk. He created a new routine after the academy. He chose different spots where he could hide and shoot the Genin with water to Kai's amusement. Suigetsu didn't do it every day so he wouldn't be predictable, and camping on new spots made sure he wouldn't get caught. Of course, if his target was a more competent shinobi, that would be another story, but Suigetsu always prevailed. He splashed the Genin and ran away undetected, not before looking at Kai's gleeful smile. That's what made it worth it. Suigetsu didn't even care about the thrill of ambushing the guy anymore. He just wanted to see that smile and hear her laughter. Eventually, the Genin changed the trajectory. He took Kai home, trying to confuse Suigetsu, but he always caught on and ambushed him regardless. That routine went on for months. You finally did it. Genishi quit, Kai told Suigetsu with a smile. Yes, finally we can hang out and train after the academy again. Not so fast. My sister just hired another ninja to babysit me. Oh, damn it. Her name is Miki. She's also a Genin. I really thought she would hire a chunin by this point, but my sister has been spending a lot of money. Not just her own money, but also the clan's treasury, so I guess she can't hire a more expensive ninja. Well, at least that means I'll be able to do the same thing to the new one, huh? Well, do the same thing, allegedly, of course. course. Kai chuckled. I have no idea what you're talking about. But seriously, they take you home every day and stay with you until late. Yeah, even when my sister isn't on missions, she comes back home very late, or sometimes not at all. I don't know what she's been up to, but maybe she just found herself a new boyfriend. She's doing that? And she doesn't let you hang out with me? That's so stupid! What do you mean? She can't go out with her boyfriend and you can't... Suigetsu stopped himself. Kai was blushing, but she had a grin on her face. Are you saying that you are my... Suigetsu's face turned beet red. I didn't say anything. Kai chuckled. Okay then. I'm excited for the next ambush. I don't know what you're talking about. The new Genin babysitter was a bit more capable than the first one, but Suigetsu had learned and improved his stealth abilities with him. Moreover, Suigetsu had been practicing his water style ninjutsu with his brother. He could shoot water splashes from much further now, which gave him a great advantage during the ambushes. The new Genin didn't get as upset whenever she got hit with a water splash, but her face was sour nonetheless. Kai laughed every time Suigetsu caught her in the ambush. He thought she would get tired of the joke eventually, but that was a small way for Kai to be free of her sister's severe demands. Several months went by, and 3 more Genin had given up on babysitting Kai after Suigetsu's relentlessness, but another one always took their place. By that point, Suigetsu had learned pretty much every nook and cranny of the Mist Village layout. Hidden spots, shops, where people lived, not because he wanted to, just because he had to in order to ambush the Genins. During the academy classes, Suigetsu and Kai kept on supporting each other. She had improved her abilities a bit, and she even managed to give Suigetsu a few tips so he wouldn't fail the written exams every time they had them. Seriously, you have to start studying more, Suigetsu. You almost failed the last test. But I didn't fail, because I helped you out. Exactly. You really should study, it's important. But I want you to help me, it's fine. It's the only way I can bear reading at all, if it's when you help me, you know? But I can't help you that much anymore. Not during the academy hours. It was enough. It's gonna be enough again. You should push yourself more, Suigetsu. But I am. Really? I'm training really hard with my brother. Yeah, but you should study too. But why? I don't get it. Because you can become such a great ninja, Suigetsu. You have a lot of potential, unlike me. But isn't training hard enough? I'm top of the class in taijutsu, kenjutsu, shuriken jutsu, and ninjutsu. But you could be more than that. What do you mean? If you applied yourself, you could be Mizukage. Suigetsu barked out a laugh. That's crazy. Where did that come from? I don't know. I like to think of you as the leader of the village. I think you'd be good at that. Ah, you're crazy. Besides, my brother's gonna be Mizukage, not me. He's more talented than me anyway. I haven't even awakened the hydrification jutsu. I think you could surpass him. Well, maybe you could be Mizukage after him. I mean, I hope not. That will mean he dies young. Or maybe he could just retire. No Mizukage has ever retired up until now, so I guess you have a point there. Has your brother been doing a lot to become Mizukage, though? Yeah, he's going on a lot of hard missions. He only gets A or S rank ones to go on, but he looks like he's liking it. I think he can become Mizukage. Oh, I'm glad. And, well, I'm rooting for your brother too. After all, he could make things easier for us if he became Mizukage, and then you don't have to worry about being Mizukage, but I still think he'd be a very good one. And I'm glad you're getting along well with your brother, not like me. I see it's, not good with her sister then? No, I mean, she's all strict and everything, but she's almost never home nowadays, and I have no idea what she's doing anymore. Oh, so she's very caught up with a new boyfriend. I don't even know if she has one, really. I've never seen him, and she never tells me anything or where she's going, and she doesn't let me see you at all. The few times I see her, I have to lie to her and tell you that I'm not talking to you during the academy classes, and that it's probably some older bully student that's splashing water on the babysitters. Oh man, I don't get it at all. She was nice to me before, but now she hates me for no reason. That's why, you know, if you became Mizukage, she would definitely not think you were a bad influence. Oh, come on, drop that. I could never. Kai pouted, but she didn't bring that up anymore. Over the next months, more Genin circled through being Kai's babysitters. They only lasted a few weeks each now. One day, when a new Genin took over the duty, Suigetsu decided to ambush him near the market square. He took a position on top of a tall rooftop where he could see everything happening below. It was a long shot, but Suigetsu had hit water splashes from greater distances before, so he waited and prepared, confident he would succeed. Kai and the Genin appeared on the street below, and Suigetsu pointed his palms to shoot water, but he felt a powerful hand hand, gripping the back of his neck and shoving him down. Suigetsu hit the rooftop with a grunt, and the hand kept on pressing the back of his neck, pushing him against the concrete. I knew it was you, a soft voice said. It was Mei Terumi. Stay away from my sister. Why? We're friends. You're not good for her. This is not fair. Life is not fair. Deal with it. If you keep on pulling those stunts and talking to Kai, I'm gonna kill me? Are you gonna kill me for that? Really? You're gonna kill me for talking to your sister and throwing water on hired guys? Mei lifted Suigetsu by the neck and hoisted him up beyond the edge of the rooftop. His feet dangled and he couldn't breathe. Suigetsu tried to undo the grip, but then he realized that if he did so, he would plummet several stories down. Yes, you'll leave me no choice but to kill you. Suigetsu felt her words were truthful. They carried weight, which frightened him. You're a terrible sister. You don't even spend time with Kai, Suigetsu said as his vision began to blur. Stop it, Mei! Kai screamed from below. Mei sighed and tossed Suigetsu back to the rooftop, letting go of him. He grasped his throat and coughed. His vision returned to normal, and Suigetsu realized that Mei had changed her look. She was wearing a blue dress, much more revealing than before, and her hair was different as well. But why? You cannot tell me. I want to harm Kai after what I did to save her. I don't need to give you a reason. This is my last warning. Stay away from Kai or I'll kill you. Mei jumped down and grabbed Kai by the hand, taking her away. Suigetsu looked at her. She was crying, but when she saw Suigetsu was fine, her face beamed through her tears. Mei, on the other hand, had cold, resolute fury on her face. I don't understand. She's crazy! Suigetsu shouted, venting to his brother. Mangetsu sighed. She's always been a stuck-up girl. Mei's a very unreasonable person. After what I did, how can she think I'm bad for Kai? And it's not as if I'm taking Kai away from her. She never spends time with Kai anyway. Why is she like that? Well, I think I know the real reason. You do? Yeah. Ever since the academy days, Mei's dream was to get married. But up until this day, she never even had a boyfriend. She's getting desperate now, changing her look, making herself look more enticing. She's been traveling to cities all around the land of water and spending money to find someone to marry, trying to find suitors and things like that. That's why she's never with Kai and she's always away from home. She's getting older, she has to act quick if she wants to get married. All the adults in the village have been talking about that. She's become quite infamous over the last few months. Ridiculous even. That's the reason she's not spending time with Kai. Yep, pretty pathetic if you ask me. And it's not as though there isn't anyone that would want to date her. She just wants the perfect guy, and she'll never find a completely perfect one, regardless of how much money she offers. That's so dumb. But why does she not let me see Kai? Well, she's jealous of her little sister. Kai found her perfect match at a very young age, in a pretty natural way, while Mei is incapable of doing that well into her 20s. She's not letting you guys interact because she envies you two. Suigetsu felt his skin crawling. That wench! He punched the air in frustration. I can't believe that! That's ugh! Calm down. Once you two graduate from the academy, Kai will become autonomous and earn her own money. Mei won't be able to keep you apart anymore. Besides, there is nothing Mei can do to stop you guys from interacting in the ninja academy itself. But still, it's not fair! She doesn't have the right to do that! And graduation's gonna take so long! Time goes by faster than you think. Soon enough, you'll be looking back to this day and joking about it. I don't think this will ever happen. Mangetsu patted Suigetsu's head. In any case, stop bullying those poor genins and don't interact with Kai outside of the academy anymore. But Mei is unhinged, Suigetsu. She might actually kill you. I'd avenge you, of course, but I prefer you not to die, you know? I think you would prefer that too. Fine. I'm so sorry, Suigetsu. Kai cried, hugging Suigetsu tight. My sister's so awful. It's okay. She can't keep us apart when we are in the academy. I won't pull any more stunts, though. I don't want you to get into any more trouble. Suigetsu decided not to tell Kai about the reason why Mei didn't let them see each other after class, or why Mei was never home. He figured that would just make Kai more miserable. But I want to be with you. My sister, she can't do that to me. Adults have their reasons. But once we graduate, everything will be fine. We're gonna go on missions and make money. I mean, she's not gonna be able to hire ninjas to stay with you forever, right? Kai nodded. But I'm afraid. I'm scared I'm not gonna pass graduation exam. Of course you will. We'll support each other just like we've been doing so far, and everything will work out. Thank you. Suigetsu, Kai stopped herself. Yeah? Nothing. Thank you. Of course! You don't have to thank me. We're gonna graduate in no time. It's gonna be fun. Months passed by. Suigetsu and Kai helped each other out in the academy as best as they could. Surprisingly, the sensei even encouraged them to work together a lot of the time, which Suigetsu was always happy to do. It was good the academy took notes of the students who worked well together. Suigetsu didn't try to contact Kai outside of the academy anymore, and he generally kept his distance, obeying his brother. But throughout all that time, he held a deep sense of anger and indignation towards Mei for not allowing Kai any freedom. The worst part was that according to Kai, Mei showed up to their home less and less. Obviously, she hadn't found someone to marry yet. Suigetsu and Kai kept going. She helped him study for written exams. He helped her with combat-related aspects, all done in the safe haven that was the Ninja Academy. Now Suigetsu found the worst part of his day was when classes ended. With that routine, they both managed to advance through the academy classes, and finally, when they were both 12 years old, they qualified for the graduation exam. They would finally become ninjas, and finally they could be free and together. Suigetsu couldn't sleep at all the night before the exam, but he was pumped in the morning, ready for anything the examiners would throw against him. Suigetsu had breakfast with his brother, and he noticed his forehead was wrinkled, the usual sign that Mangetsu was worried. I'm gonna be fine, you know? I'm top of the class in all the combat stuff. I wish you had already awakened the hydrification jutsu for the exam. I can pass without it. Of course you can. Can you give me any tips, though? No, they always change the type of exam. I have no idea what you'll have to do. Alright, when I come back, I'll be a ninja. I'll be waiting for you at the exit of the academy. Nice! Suigetsu stood up, pumping his fists. Time to go! Suigetsu, his brother said, with an uncharacteristic serious voice. Yeah? Do not hesitate. Suigetsu nodded and left for the academy. He arrived in the classroom and sat next to Kai, who looked extremely nervous. All the students were nervous to some extent, but Suigetsu managed to transform much of his nerves into excitement. It's gonna be alright. We're both gonna be ninjas. I'm scared. Hey, I'm here with you, alright? Suigetsu put his hand on top of hers, and she squeezed it tight. Good morning, everyone. We'll begin the examination shortly, the sensei said. This exam will be conducted with teams of 2. The academy has determined which students work better with each other, and we use that to split you into duos. They'll be taking the exam together. No way! So that means me and Kai will be together, right? Yes! We have to be together. There's no way we can fail now. Suigetsu thought and locked eyes with Kai. She smiled, and he smiled back, understanding the situation. The sensei began to call out their names to form the duos. The next team will be Team 13, Suigetsu Hozuki and Kai Terumi. Yes! Suigetsu whispered in excitement. This is going to be easy! Whatever nerves he had simply evaporated, and Suigetsu realized he was much more nervous about Kai than himself. Now that they were together, he could carry the team if it came to it, and if there were difficult theoretical questions, Kai could answer them with a hand tied behind her back. The test will be conducted by a special proctor to ensure an unbiased examination. I will call your teams one by one and take you to the test area. The others are to remain in the classroom, the sensei said, calling up the first team and leading them out of the classroom. The wait was intense. Teams were called one by one, and it took anywhere between 5 to 30 minutes for a new call to come. What could this test be about? Suigetsu wondered. He could notice the teams that went to the test and returned to the classroom, probably so they couldn't tell anyone what the test was about. We're gonna do it, Kai. Don't worry, Suigetsu said. I know, you're with me. I'm not scared anymore. She smiled. Team 13, Suigetsu Hozuki and Kai Terumi, you're next, the sensei said. A jolt of adrenaline hit Suigetsu. He and Kai followed the sensei into an academy hallway until they turned left, and the sensei opened a secret passage door that was hiding in plain sight on one of the hallway walls. Whoa, I had no idea this was there. The graduation exam is very secretive. We must ensure no biases, the sensei said, and they walked beyond the secret door, making their way through a narrow hallway. They reached a large metal door that looked like a reinforced bank vault. The sensei weaved hand signs and used the jutsu to open the door. The metal slowly moved, opening up. The proctor is waiting for you inside. Good luck. Suigetsu and Kai stepped into the room, and the bulky door closed behind them. A ninja wearing the mist Ambu mask stood still in the back of the room with his hands behind his back. The room was all white and devoid of any any furniture. It looked almost sterile. Suigetsu, Hozuki, and Kai Terumi? Yes, they replied at the same time. Listen closely. I'll explain the test for you. It's quite simple. Only one of you will become a ninja today. The one who survives. You must kill each other for the privilege of becoming a Miss Ninja. That is the exam. Begin. What? Suigetsu shouted. You heard me. Go on. Kill each other. The Ambu's voice was cold and emotionless. That combined with his mask made him seem like a creature and not a person. You're kidding! What's the real test? Suigetsu said and looked at Kai. She looked terrified. This is the real test. All Miss Ninjas go through this process. You must kill the person you're closest to in the academy to become a shinobi. That will erase your emotions and turn you into the perfect ninja. But that's a load of crap! Suigetsu unsheathed his sword, pointing it to the Ambu. I don't believe you! It's not to me that you must direct your blade to. Think, Suigetsu. This is an exam. Think like a ninja. It's a trick. He's trying to fool us. He wants to see what we're going to do. There's no way we would have to kill each other. We just have to find out the real objective of the exam. Kai was frozen and she trembled. Should we attack him? Fight him instead? Do we have to beat him in some way? But he's a Nambu member. It would be impossible to beat him. Suigetsu thought. I see you are one of those that don't believe me. Fine, the Ambu said, weaving a sign. And a hidden compartment leapt out of the white room wall. It was a long horizontal pole with several metal hooks attached to it. The hooks held the corpses of several other classmates. Classmates who had gone into the test area before them. They were maimed and dangled there like sacks of meat in a butcher shop. Kai let out a yelp of terror and she cried profusely. Suigetsu froze and started to shake. This could not be happening. This had to be a genjutsu or something. There was no way he could kill Kai. And why would the academy force their students to kill each other? Do you believe me now? Liar! Suigetsu screamed. The Ambu weaved another hand sign and the corpses of their former classmates returned to the wall. Call me what you wish, but because you're hesitating, I must tell you a few additional rules for the exam. Hesitate. That word echoed in Suigetsu's mind, and he remembered Mangetsu telling him not to hesitate. No, it couldn't be. No, he knew about this? My brother knew? No! Suigetsu thought, becoming desperate. If you don't start fighting each other within the next 5 minutes, I will kill you both. You are either both going to die here, or one of you is not going to die and become a ninja, while the other dies. Kai screamed and cried. No, please, don't do this! Suigetsu was in disbelief. He knew it. That's why he was so nervous this morning. That's why Mei didn't want me to see Kai, so the academy wouldn't think we're friends and put us together in the exam. She knew I was stronger than Kai. She didn't want us to take the exam together. Please, sir, please, we quit. We don't want to be ninjas anymore. We give up. Suigetsu tried to plead with him. You don't have that option. Once you enter this room, you've sealed your destiny. Besides, both of you are from traditional clans. You have no option anyway. Please, I beg you, let us go. Suigetsu kneeled and lowered his head, touching it to the ground. Kai was crying too hard to do anything. You have 4 minutes. Please, mister, please. We're just kids. Have mercy, please. You must kill each other, or I'll have to kill you both. Suigetsu looked to the side and locked eyes with Kai. He motioned to swing his sword at her, and she closed her eyes. However, Suigetsu used that motion to cover his real attack. Suigetsu pointed his index finger and shot a water bullet with his other hand straight into the Ambu's head, but the Ambu quickly dodged it. It was a fair attempt. If Suigetsu killed him there, they could flee this place, and he thought catching him off guard would be the best option. You thought I'd lower my guard, didn't you? Fighting me is futile. The Ambu weaved a sign, and sealing sigils appeared on the ground beneath Kai and Suigetsu, sealing them in place, paralyzing their movements completely. I've seen enough. I'm killing both of you. No, please don't kill us. The Ambu scoffed, but released a seal on them. Then go on, fight each other. I'm sorry, Kai. Suigetsu pointed his sword into his own heart. If you take your own life, I will kill the other afterwards. What? Why? One of you must kill the other here. That is the test. The only way you're leaving this room is if you take the life of the other one. You have 2 minutes. Suigetsu grabbed her hands tight. Listen to me, Kai. You have to kill me, or he's gonna kill us both. No, I can't kill you. but you'll have to. I told you I would protect you. This means I have to die to save you now. It's the same thing that happened before against the bone guy. Suigetsu put a kunai in her hand and kept on holding her. Shove it into my eye, please. I can't. No, I just can't. I'm not gonna kill you. Kai, please. I'm with you right now. I'll always be with you. But please, I beg you. You cannot die here. Suigetsu let go of her hand. It's gonna be quick. I'm not gonna feel anything. You have to survive. For your sister. But what about your brother? My brother can handle himself. You have to live. Now please, go on. Suigetsu. Yeah, I love you. He had managed not to cry until now, but tears streamed out after what she said. She had never told him that before. I love you too. He looked at her one final time and closed his eyes. What could have been, he wondered. How would their lives have been if they lived together? What if they were born somewhere else or just outside of traditional clans? This was so cruel, so unfair. He hated this village so much. He hated his brother for not telling him about this exam, but he decided to forget about everything and only think about Kai in his last moments. He pictured her smiling, and for a split second, it was almost as if he was happy, laying on the grass next to her without a care in the world. Suigetsu felt the cold steel blade entering through his eye and piercing into his head, but he felt no pain. He was already dead. But no, he could still hear Kai crying and sobbing. He wasn't dead, and he was still standing up. He didn't lose his footing. Suigetsu opened his eyes. He could see the kunai handle sticking out of his face, but he felt nothing. And then he noticed that even though the blade had pierced him, he wasn't bleeding. Rather, water leaked from his eye. Interesting. You've awakened the Hozuki clan hydrification KK Genkai, the Yambu said, as if he was observing two animals doing something mildly amusing. No! No, no! No, 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 no! Suigetsu screamed, yanking the kunai out of his head. He slashed his arm, and when he did so, no blood came out, only water, and the cut reformed itself. He slashed himself again, and again, and again. No, no, please, no, 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 no! How do I turn this off? How do I turn it off? Please, no! Suigetsu kept on stabbing himself, but the water would just reform his body. He concentrated, trying to turn the jutsu off, but he simply couldn't. He didn't even know how the jutsu worked. Kai, please, you have to do it again. I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna fix it. It's not gonna work anymore. He kept on stabbing himself, but the water would reform his body, and he wouldn't take damage anymore. That's enough. You haven't fought each other at all. I'll just heal you both. Wait! No, please! I can turn the jutsu off. She's gonna kill me after that. No, I've given you too much leeway already. Wait! Kai screamed. Suigetsu, you have to kill me. No! I'm actually glad you awakened that jutsu. I'm glad you're surviving. Please, do it. It's the only way. But Suigetsu, thank you for everything you did. And I really love you. I wasn't just saying that. You were the best thing that ever happened in my life. Kai kissed him on the lips. It was quick, and Suigetsu wished that moment would last forever. But as soon as she pulled away, he snapped back to reality. Kai was resolute now. She stopped crying, and she no longer trembled. Suigetsu didn't allow himself time to think. He grabbed his sword and pierced Kai into the heart. The sword emerged from her back with a string of blood. Her body went limp instantly, and Suigetsu grabbed her before she fell to the ground. He put her body down gently and closed her eyes. When he looked at her dead face, that was when the weight of what he just did crashed down upon him like a meteor. Suigetsu felt his knees and puked his guts out. What is this? What is this hell? I just killed Kai. Suigetsu kept on puking until he had nothing left in his stomach, not even bile. The Yambu man stepped close to him and extended his hand. He was holding a Miss Village headband, offering it to Suigetsu. Congratulations on your graduation. You are now a shinobi of the Miss Village. What happened here is a state secret. Telling academy kids or the younger generation about the nature of the graduation exam is punishable by death, so you must keep that secret. Suigetsu took a long time to stand up and grab his new headband from the Yambu's hand. That piece of clothing, it symbolized Kai's death. He would never wear a Miss Village headband. He left the room through a different door, one on the back of the room that the Yambu man opened with a hand sign. He walked along a hallway until he left the academy through an exit he didn't even know existed. Hundreds of adults waited there with tense expressions. He saw his brother, and Mangetsu nodded at him with a smile, but Suigetsu wasn't looking for him. He scanned the crowd until he found Mei. Of course, she would be there as well. Suigetsu and Mei locked their eyes. She did look a lot like Kai, which made Suigetsu to relive what he just did. He fell to his knees again, still looking at Mei though, and horror took over his face. He had to apologize, but how could he? After what he did, he noticed Mei's eyes trembling, and she tried to hold back her tears. Suigetsu stood up and walked towards her, but before he could say anything, Mei dashed away, and of course she would. Her sister just died. Kai just died, and Suigetsu was the one who killed her. You knew it, didn't you? Suigetsu asked his brother after they got home, after an eerily silent walk. Mangetsu didn't say anything. Answer me! Every Miss Shinobi knows. We all had to go through it, without exception. Suigetsu felt dead inside. He closed his eyes, but he could still see Kai's lifeless face, her limp body, his own sword slaying her body. Only now Suigetsu realized he left it behind. He stood up and ran to the door, but Mangetsu appeared in front of him with amazing speed. Where do you think you're going? I left her body there. I can't leave her there. He's gonna hang her in those hooks like the others. Suigetsu could still see the other students that had died before their turn and how their bodies were treated. Her body will be returned to her family just like the others. But he's gonna hang her there like a piece of meat. I'm not letting him. Stop. Don't cause any commotion. The graduation exam is a state secret. If you do anything to compromise it, you'll be executed. I don't care. Let them kill me. So you're just going to die like that? Throwing away Kai's death? She died so you could live. Suigetsu punched his brother across the face, and he didn't seem to mind it. Bastard. But he was right. If Suigetsu died now, then her death would have been for nothing. Kai told Suigetsu to survive, so he turned around to go to his room. But before he locked himself away, he paused. You encouraged me to be her friend, so the person I'd have to kill would be weak, didn't you? That's why Mei didn't want me to see Kai. She knew Kai would have no chance against me. She was just trying to protect her sister. And you, it's your fault she's dead. You told me all those things. You said practicing with her was a good idea. And you kept on asking if she got stronger. I did what I had to do to protect you so that our clan would survive. That's what Mom and Dad would have wanted. She died. Kai died. You don't understand. Of course I do. I had to do the exact same thing. No, you didn't. Not like me. If you did what I had to do, you would have never put me through it. It's either that or you're a sadistic psychopath. Are you telling me I shouldn't have done anything? That I should have risked you dying? Yes! I'd rather die than kill Kai! I told her to kill me, and she went ahead with it, but I awakened that cursed hydrification jutsu and survived! And then I couldn't turn it off! There was no time I had to kill her, or we would both die! Suigetsu was crying hard. No, I'm such an idiot! I had the jutsu! I could have fought the Anbu! I could have killed him and escaped with Kai! The hydrification jutsu doesn't make you immortal. You'd have no chance against an Anbu member. But still, it's a great thing you've awakened it. Mangetsu smiled. What are you smiling for? I'm not gonna be a ninja. I don't care anymore. Then once again, you'd be wasting Kai's sacrifice, because if you don't do that, they'll kill you. Now you know firsthand that the Mist Village doesn't have many qualms about executing children, and you must be a ninja by the law. This is how our village works. We select the strongest, and the strongest clans are obliged to contribute to the strength of the village. How can you stand for this? How is this even possible? How they kill children like that? It makes us stronger than any other village in the world, Suigetsu. It is the price we have to pay, but that enables us to achieve greatness. So what? So what? That doesn't matter. How is this even something a person could come up with? We're just kids and we're killing each other in a basement beneath your academy. It makes us who we are. Hardened, terrifying shinobi to face. Shinobi that won't allow their emotions to cloud their judgment. The third Mizukage instituted this type of exam, and the military success of our village increased greatly. So you let children kill each other so the village will be stronger. That's just insane! Because our ninja got so much stronger, the Mist Village was one of the winners of the Third Great Ninja War. That was a mess of a war. A free-for-all between all 5 major nations, but we came out on top alongside the Leaf. The village has conducted this exam for years now, decades, and it works to protect our village and our people. You're insane. How can parents and siblings just quietly let this happen when they know their children are probably gonna die? How can you not interfere? Say something! Because if you do, you're executed. These are the rules. You bunch of cowards! They thought about changing the exams to a more traditional method over a decade ago. That was when Zabuza killed his entire class, and the Mist Village suffered a great loss, in their prospects. But the third Mizukage decided to change the exams in a different way. You were always supposed to kill your best friend, but the exam was held at an open area. That led Zabuza to going berserk and killing them all. So the third Mizukage changed the exam location to a more secluded place with only 2 children, and they are always watched by a powerful Anbu to ensure nothing will go wrong and only one of them will die. He also made sure to spread rumors about this type of test being done for, and ensure that all ninjas would keep this a secret or be put to the sword. The fourth Mizukage briefly thought about changing this exam method when he took office, but he quickly changed his mind and didn't go through with it, which was a good thing. After all, if he didn't, we would be a much weaker village. How can you say that, you cowards? All of you insane cowards! How can you not do something about it? Revolt against the Mizukage! That's treason! Of course it is! I wish Zabuza had finished the job! Mangetsu slapped Suigetsu across the face, exploding Suigetsu's cheek into water. Don't you dare speak against the Mist Village or the Mizukage. You dishonor those who gave their lives so we could be in the position we're in, including Kai. The sacrifices they made gave us the strength to move forward, Suigetsu. I will not tolerate such behavior. Suigetsu had never seen his brother angry like that, but he understood it now. Mangetsu had always been completely brainwashed by the village's system. If he became Mizukage, he wouldn't change it. Rather, he would probably encourage it. There was no point in arguing with him. Any other viewpoint Suigetsu brought up wouldn't matter. Fear, or simply indoctrination, controlled every single ninja in the village. That's why no one revolted. And when someone tried like Zabuza, the system would purge them quickly. It made so much sense. The village that would order a massacre of an entire population of a small island would also be willing to put their own children to death, fighting for their survival against their best friend. Suigetsu remembered the baby, and then Kai. He almost puked again. Linking those 2 points almost made something snap in his mind. I can't believe this. I am not going to tolerate that type of talk, do you understand? I'll give you a chance because this is a hard day, but you must learn to be a real ninja. Deal with your hardship without shedding tears. Suigetsu's blood boiled, but he realized there was no winning here. He would have to just go along with it for now. Yes, I'm sorry. I understand that. It's just been a very difficult day. Mangetsu sighed. Of course he has. Go rest. Your ninja career starts tomorrow. Suigetsu finally went back to his room and he locked himself there. He cried in the fetal position for hours on end, and it felt like the more he cried, the bigger the void inside of him got. It was over. Everything was over. He had to somehow leave this cursed village, leave everything behind and disappear. But how? If he did that, the Anbu huntsman would track him down and kill him. So Suigetsu had to get stronger. Much stronger. That way, even if they caught him, Suigetsu could fight them off and still escape and be free. That was what Suigetsu had to do to escape his hellish reality. That was the only way Suigetsu saw himself living. Somehow Suigetsu managed to sleep for a few hours, and he woke up the next morning with a new general plan. He would pretend things were fine as best as he could. He needed everyone, including his brother, to think he was loyal to the Mist Village, and that he was training to get stronger in order to serve the village better. That way, when he had a good chance to escape and flee the village, no one would be expecting him to be a traitor. Maybe he could even find a way to fake his death, so that no one would even try to find him afterwards. But in order for that to work, he needed a mask. Not a physical one, but a mask to his emotions. And Suigetsu felt like humor would be the best option. Feeling better? Mangetsu asked. Yep, my bad. I was just being a little sissy yesterday. Mangetsu chuckled, and someone knocked on their door. It was Ringo Ameyuri. Have you heard the news? She said after Mangetsu let her in. I'm afraid I don't know what you're referring to. Zabuza is dead. He was killed in the Land of Waves while lending his services to a shady business dealer called Gato. Good riddance, Suigetsu said mockingly. Yeah, it's a good thing he won't cause us any more trouble. What about his body and the executioner's blade? Apparently Zabuza was buried near the location he died, and the sword was used for the tombstone. Should we go retrieve it? Mangetsu looked at Suigetsu. No, we'll leave it there for now. He was a traitor, but he was still one of ours. Let us respect his resting place, at least for a while. Amir looked surprised, but accepted the orders. Do you know who killed him? According to most information channels, it was a Leaf team led by Kakashi, the copy ninja. Mangetsu scowled. That bastard? Who's this guy? Suigetsu asked. A powerful and famous leaf ninja. He used his weird eye to copy the enemy's jutsu. Once he wiped out an entire platoon of mist Ambo ninjas by himself. No wonder Zabuza died to him. Is he really that strong? Amiri looked impressed and excited. You were too young to have fought in the last war, and yes, that man was a menace. Well, he was a kid back then, but he was still a menace. I never fought him myself, but only an extraordinary ninja could wipe out an entire Ambo platoon by himself. I kinda doubt he did it alone. Sounds like a lot of crap to me. One of those war stories, Suigetsu said. Maybe, but that's what our own intel division reported. There's no reason for them to lie to us. One day I'll fight him. Show the mist is superior, Amiri said. Don't be too cocky. Zabuza was stronger than you. I'll get stronger, Amiri smirked. Is there anything else? Nope, Amiri said and left. She had a determined smile on her face as she did. The report says you have awakened the hydrification jutsu, Suigetsu, Yagura said as Suigetsu and Mangetsu were in his office. Yes, I did, sir. That is great. The Hozuki clan has been a pillar of strength in our village for a long time. However, the report also mentioned you were willing to let yourself be killed in the exam. Why is that? I don't know, honestly. I figured I was, what the test was about. Who was willing to sacrifice himself the most? Everything was very confusing. I didn't really understand it. But my brother explained it better, and I guess I passed anyway, so Suigetsu lied. He hated the tiny man's guts. He was the Mizukage. He could put an end to that massacring. He even thought about doing that, but apparently he got cold feet. And now he led that entire system. The system that killed Kai. Suigetsu wanted to jump and kill him right there. Strike his neck with his sword. Cut his head off. Even though Suigetsu said he wouldn't kill anybody else, he could still make an exception for him. He looked so weak. But no, that would be stupid. I see. I will leave you in the care of your brother. He also possesses the hydrification jutsu, so he'll be the best one to teach you. And because you proved yourself to be very capable during the academy classes when it comes to combat, you will form a two-man cell with Mangetsu as the captain. I may assign your two-man cell to a larger battalion if the mission calls for it from time to time. Yagura's eyes seemed that they weren't quite there. His gaze was unfocused as always. It seemed like he was thinking about something else, utterly bored by the present situation, which made Suigetsu even more furious. Ah, great. I'm stuck with this idiot now, Suigetsu said, hiding his anger. I'll teach him well, Lord Mizukage. You mentioned Suigetsu wanted to become a swordsman of the mist, didn't you? Your ranks are very diminished. It would be good to recover them, so I trust you will develop your brother into a formidable 7-ninja swordsman. Yes, my lord. It will be done. Here's your first mission. Yagura handed Mangetsu a scroll. It was a C-rank mission, to scout a foreign town near the Land of Water. It will be done, my lord. I think my plan will work well, Mangetsu said as they both cruised the forest heading to their mission location. What plan? Suigetsu asked. I don't care about honoring Zabuza's death wish. I just want to make sure you'll be the one to get the executioner's blade. I'll leave it outside of the village so that nobody else can get it officially as a 7-ninja swordsman. And when the time comes and you're ready, we can go there and retrieve it for you. I thought that was kinda weird. I was beginning to think you were showing compassion for someone like Zabuza, a traitor. No, of course not. I despise rogue ninjas. That sent a shiver down Suigetsu's spine. Would he have to battle against his own brother one day? Why is your headband like that? Mangetsu asked. Because Suigetsu's headband hung out of his waist. It wasn't even wrapped around it, but half of it was shoved in his pants. Suigetsu would never wear that foul thing. But his brother couldn't know the real reason, obviously. Everyone wears the headband the same. Loads of idiots. No creativity. So, I have to do something different, to show that I'm not weak. Besides, you look like a girl when you wear it on your forehead. He pointed at Mangetsu's headband, and he chuckled. That's alright. I think it suits your style. I know, it does. Suigetsu trained harder than ever before. He was moved by his anger and his desire to leave. His new routine consisted of going on missions with his brother and honing his jutsus and swordsmanship. He sparred with Mangetsu for hours every day when they didn't have missions. They could both unleash everything they had at each other, for whenever they hit each other, the hydrification jutsu would negate any damage. Suigetsu learned how to deactivate the jutsu. If only he knew how to do it during the exams. But also, he learned the hydrification jutsu spent barely any chakra. It still required a bit of chakra, so if Suigetsu got completely depleted, it wouldn't work anymore. And he also learned the weaknesses of the hydrification jutsu. If the water that his body turned into was itself destroyed, he could die or be hurt. Making the water evaporate, however, would not kill him. The vapor would just quickly coalesce back, like his body did when the water was still liquid. Lightning style was also a weakness. It could paralyze the body and prevent him from turning 100% into water. Suigetsu did his best not to kill during his missions. When he had to fight someone, he incapacitated them and hoped his brother wouldn't see it to finish them off. Mangetsu was brutal. He hardly ever left survivors during their missions, unless the mission itself called for it. Suigetsu soon learned that his brother was a true believer of the Mist Village regime. The image Suigetsu used to have of him as this easygoing, cool guy was shattered. Mangetsu was a bloodthirsty man, and when he thought back to it, that had always been obvious, especially when he witnessed everything that happened in the Shark Island. What Suigetsu himself did there, if he wasn't careful, he could have ended up like Mangetsu, a heartless creature for a heartless village. So he always spared his enemies in his missions. It was much easier to do that with the hydrification jutsu when he could actually get hit and suffer no damage. So he gets to learn that unlike other villages that combine their fresh genins into teams of 3 led by a jonin captain, the Mist Village combined their genins on a whim, essentially, depending on the Mizukage's wishes. Genins could be set into groups of 2, 3, 4, or 5, and some like Suigetsu were paired with a jonin as a duo with no other genins. It took only a few months for Suigetsu to get a promotion to the tuning rank. Other villages held tuning exams for their young genins to prove their worth, but the Mist Village was different. Their ninjas were supposed to prove their worth during their graduation exam. Many young ninjas died during the tuning exams in other villages, and the Mist Village couldn't afford that because half of their ninjas died from the get-go in the graduation exams. So the Mizukage simply promoted ninjas he considered qualified to advance through the ranks. So he gets to refuse to wear the Mist Village vest, even though he became a chunin. He wouldn't wear anything representing that place. Mangetsu didn't question him about it because he didn't wear it either. Besides, because they could liquefy their bodies to undo any damage, the protection that Flakjack provided was worthless to them. As they completed more and more missions, Suigetsu and Mangetsu gained notoriety as a duo in the Mist Village. Other ninjas started to call them the Hozuki brothers. Suigetsu kept on training harder and harder, trying to find a way to escape. He needed a mission that would go wrong, so he could fake his death and find a way to leave. But that wasn't easy. Suigetsu didn't want to deliberately sabotage the mission so his brother wouldn't suspect him. Sometimes he didn't give 100% of his power to see if the mission would fail, but Mangetsu was an excellent ninja. He had always an answer for everything. And of course, Suigetsu couldn't be too transparent with his deliberate mistakes. So even if the mission wasn't a complete success, it was almost impossible to find a perfect chance to escape. One where Mangetsu and the village wouldn't question and not even go after Suigetsu. So he waited and trained to get stronger until the perfect opportunity would present itself. Yeah, guess those guys are not gonna steal anymore, Suigetsu said, mocking the bandits he and Mangetsu had fought during their last mission. They walked on a road surrounded by a forest, making their way back to the Mist Village. The day was sunny and fogless, odd for this region in this time of year. No, they definitely won't, Mangetsu said casually. He was unfazed. He had just killed over a dozen people to fulfill their mission, even though he didn't have to. Suigetsu was disgusted by that. He couldn't take that anymore, but he had to pretend everything was fine. So, do you think we're gonna stay as a duo for a while? I think so. Lord Mizukage is very satisfied with our performance. Maybe he will even assign us to a larger battalion from time to time, but the Hozuki brothers might just become the most formidable name of the Mist Village. A dense white mist crashed down upon them, engulfing the two brothers. That mist was not natural, not just because of its speed, but also because of what it did to the brothers. Suigetsu and Mangetsu began to sizzle. Suigetsu felt a terrible burning sensation all around his skin, and the water from his hydrification jutsu began to evaporate. But no, that wasn't exactly evaporation. It didn't look like steam. It was something else, something that actually hurt him. He had gotten used to his body exploding, getting heated up, and burned, those things caused evaporation, and they didn't hurt whatsoever. The water vapor would simply coalesce back and reform his body. This was hurting him. Not only that, but the water was not coalescing back, meaning that the water was being destroyed. The weakness of the hydrification jutsu. Mangetsu acted fast. With a swirling motion, he summoned Shibuki, the blast sword, and with a continuous motion, he sent paper bombs in all directions around himself and Suigetsu. The paper bombs exploded in a fiery circle, directing the blast away from the two brothers, and it cleared up the mist with a cacophony of shockwaves. "What is this?" Suigetsu asked, but Mangetsu had no time to answer. As soon as the mist cleared, they saw a massive orb of magma plummeting from the sky straight towards them. The two brothers weaved hand signs at the same time. "Water style! Water wall!" Their combined power created a large stream of water that was sent up, clashing against the magma orb, which exploded with a cloud of steam and hardened rock debris. But as the lava distracted them, a massive wave of acid rushed down upon them, consuming the forest along its path, burning the vegetation. Mangetsu swung the blast sword and unleashed an enormous amount of paper bombs that clashed against the wave as the remnants of the magma orb still hovered above them. The paper bombs blasted the acid wave with a chain of explosions, countering that jutsu. "I never thought she'd be this bold and stupid," Mangetsu said. He recognized those jutsus, and so did Suigetsu. Mei Terumi landed nearby. Her gaze was cold and determined, and her eyes locked on Mangetsu. There was something different about her. She wasn't wearing her revealing clothes, and she seemed just focused. "You should know this by now, Mei. What happens in the academy stays in the academy. Taking revenge is punishable by death, regardless of who you are. I'll give you this one chance to stand down." Mei did nothing. She was resolute. Suigetsu understood her. She wanted to kill him and Mangetsu for what happened to Kai. Mangetsu for orchestrating everything, and Suigetsu for having killed her. It made sense. He felt an odd understanding towards Mei, but still, he had to survive. That was what Kai told him to do. Could he use this chance to escape? Forge his death? Stubborn as always, I see. We have to be extra careful, Suigetsu. She can actually kill us with her jutsu, Mangetsu said as Mei waited for his next move. How does that work? I feel my skin burning. She uses her vapor style to change the pH of the water, essentially transforming it into acid. That acid destroys the molecules of regular water, breaking them apart, destroying the water of our bodies. So the jutsu can actually kill us. Be careful. So that's why the water wasn't returning. It wasn't evaporating, it was being destroyed, Suigetsu thought. Stand back, Suigetsu. This fight is above your current level. I'll take care of the traitor. Mangetsu's voice was chilly, and those words were foreboding, especially coming from Mangetsu's mouth, a man that knew no mercy. He summoned Nuibari, the great needle longsword with a long wire attached to the handle that Mangetsu could control and use it to maneuver the sword through the air. It was another of the 7 ninja swords, and Mangetsu dual-wielded it alongside Shibuki. He dashed at Mei, who weaved signs and spat a thick stream of acid. Mangetsu dodged it and launched Nuibari, using the string to guide it. Mei raised a water wall, intercepting the thin sword, but Mangetsu swung the blast sword and unleashed a surge of paper bombs. Some of the paper bombs destroyed the water wall, allowing Nuibari to continue forwards towards Mei as the wire stretched alongside the remaining paper bombs. It was a dual attack, using both swords, advancing against Mei. She weaved signs and this time raised an earth wall out of the ground. The paper bombs exploded the wall, allowing Nuibari to keep on flying forward, but Mei spat a small water dragon, which bit the long sword and diverted its path. Mangetsu was relentless though. He jumped up, launching another wave of paper bombs from above. He's attacking with so much ferocity. Using Shibuki with that massive paper bomb wave spends a lot of chakra, but he wants to end the fight fast. Mei is too dangerous, but as long as he can use Shibuki, he can disperse the acid mist, Suigetsu thought. The paper bombs crashed down, exploding on the ground. Mei zigzagged, avoiding the blasts, and her dragon dragged the great needle. Mangetsu landed near her and slashed, cutting the water dragon with an explosion from the blast sword and severing it, releasing Nuibari. The guided blade darted towards Mei. She weaved signs and spat a massive acid wave. Mangetsu swung the blast sword, releasing an enormous amount of paper bombs that clashed against it, neutralizing the wave. But as the acid exploded, droplets landed on Mangetsu. He winced winced as his skin sizzled, but that wasn't vapor. It was his skin being destroyed. He didn't care though and kept on advancing, pulling Nuibari back by the wire and holding it again on his hand. Could this be my chance to escape? I don't know who's gonna win, but I could just go. If I manage to make it look like I got hit by something powerful and died, I could be free. Suigetsu thought, watching the fight from a good distance at this point. They had moved far away from him, and he decided to get closer. You should have just accepted it. We all went through it in the academy. Yes, your little brother and your little sister died, but that's the price we pay. How can you be a Miss Jonin and not understand that? Mangetsu swung the blast sword again. Paper bombs exploded, but Mei was quick enough to raise an earth wall to counter the explosion. That doesn't mean it's right. Killing children is an aberration. She spoke for the first time. Mei's words carried a deep sense of sadness to them, and also anger. But it makes us strong. It makes us who we are. Mangetsu swung once more, releasing more paper bombs. Mei raised another earth wall, which countered the explosions, but Nuibari emerged from the ground just below Mei. He must have used the wire to bury the blade underground when I couldn't see it because of the explosions. Damn it, he covered it well, Mei thought, but she managed to dodge out of the way at the last second as the blade rose to pierce her. It passed by her, glancing off on her skin and drawing a little bit of blood, but nothing too dangerous. However, Mangetsu commanded the wire to divert the blade's trajectory and wrap itself around Mei. The blade changed its path in an uncanny way, and Mei was fast enough to wrap the sections of her skin the wire touched with water, creating a barrier. Otherwise, the wire would slice through her. But Mangetsu's maneuver pinned Mei in place, and she could no longer touch her hands. You can't weave signs for barriers now. It's over, Mangetsu said, rushing at her and swinging the blast sword in melee range. But Mei weaved hand signs with only one hand and raised an earth wall just before Shibuki impacted her. The explosion destroyed the wall and sent Mei flying. A fragment of rock hit her in the stomach and another one hit her right eye. She got hurt, but she was still alive because of the wall. Mei landed several meters away from Mangetsu. The power of the blast itself had unentangled her from Nuibari. Now that's rare. One-handed hand signs. I have to give it to you, Mei. You're talented. This is such a waste. Then again, the weak-minded like you must be purged. The academy exams are not just to get rid of the physically weak, but also from those who lack the mental capacity to be a ninja. If you're not willing to kill your emotions, you're worthless in this world. You clearly can't do that. You can't get over your sister and your brother, so you have to try and kill me. You could have been such a great ninja. You say those things as if you haven't protected your brother, as if you were not concerned about his safety. Mei clutched her stomach wound. What concerns me is the Mist Village first and foremost. Making sure my brother survived was me serving the village, for he will be one of its greatest assets in the future. Asset? How can you call your own brother that? It's because unlike you, I am a ninja. Mei scoffed in anger and weaved one-handed signs with both hands separately as Mangetsu launched Nuibari, guiding it with the wire towards Mei. An earth wall rose from the ground once more, intercepting the Great Needle, but Mangetsu rushed with Shibuki, pulling back Nuibari. He ran around the earth wall, forcing Mei to erect more earth walls all around her, but they wouldn't stop his blast sword. Mangetsu slashed at the earth walls, but as soon as the stone cracked from the explosion, the wall itself exploded outwards with immense pressure, unleashing a shockwave of steam that hit Mangetsu and launched him away. The earth wall was hollow. She put water inside of it and coated the water wall with magma to superheat the water. The wall cracked and the steam power exploded on that single direction, on me, and that water was acidic as well. It really hurt me. That's why she was weaving more than one hand sign when she used the one-handed seals there. That's why she used both hands, Mangetsu thought, feeling the burning pain as chunks of water were destroyed from his body. Before Mangetsu could land, Mei weaved signs and stomped the ground, which transformed itself into lava all around them, a massive magma field. Mangetsu landed on the incandescent rock, and his body began to boil. Before he could swing the blast sword to disperse the lava, thick magma tendrils wrapped themselves around both of Mangetsu's swords, making it impossible for him to wield them. No way, Mangetsu's gonna lose. Suigetsu thought conflicted. He thought he didn't care about his brother anymore, but still, he didn't want his brother to die. Water style, water vortex! Water exploded out of Mangetsu and swirled around him, cooling the lava that was rushing him, but Mei jumped and appeared from above. She spat a gargantuan acid flurry. Water style, great water pillars! Mangetsu unleashed large columns of water that rose and clashed against the acid. Mei's jutsu overpowered the water, but that bought Mangetsu time to jump out of the way, leaping over the magma. When he landed on solid ground, he spun around and, aiming his index fingers at Mei, shot a volley of water bullets. Mei simply weaved hand signs and created a water shield in front of her that absorbed the impacts. They did nothing. Water style is not going to work against me, she said. Her bloody eyes looked ready to kill. Faking my death? I should just run away. What if she kills Mangetsu and then kills me? But why? Why can't I run away? I can't! Suigetsu realized as he watched the fight. He was frozen in place, and he didn't know what to do. Thinking about faking his death and running away was one thing, but actually doing it was different. There was something inside of him that still kept him attached to the Mist Village. That baffled Suigetsu. What could it be? That village was hell. Why was he so hesitant to leave? He could just run away right now, and regardless of the result of the fight, he could probably get away with it. A smile came to the forefront of his thoughts. He tried to suppress that thought. The thought about Kai, but it was inevitable. The Mist Village was where he met Kai. That place connected them in a way Suigetsu couldn't explain. There was still something left. Summoning Jutsu! Mangetsu summoned Hiramekare, another of the 7 ninja swords. He empowered the sword of his chakra, creating a chakra blade several times larger than himself, and rushed Mei with it. She weaved signs and once again formed the thick fog around them. Both Mangetsu and even Suigetsu, who was further away, felt their skin burning as the water they were made out of was being destroyed. She neutralized Shibuya and Uibari, and now Mangetsu doesn't have a sword that can disperse the mist. What am I doing here? This mist could actually kill me. I have to leave. No, but I can't leave. Damn it! If I don't go back to the Mist Village, then Kai's memory will be gone. Suigetsu thought as his brother swung the great chakra sword at Mei. She unleashed a magma wave against it. The blade hit the magma. Some of it was shot backwards, but a lot of it was still connected to the sword. Mei shot a jet of water towards it, solidifying the rock around the sword, which made the blade fall to the ground, with Mangetsu still holding it. He roared in anger, the skin of his face turning blue as more and more of the water got destroyed. He extended the chakra blade even more, cracking and destroying the rock wrapping the sword, which let him move it again. The sword glowed orange from the heat of the lava. As Mangetsu was about to re-engage, Mei increased the acidity of the mist around them and burned Mangetsu even more. The acid was so potent, it began to dissolve the chakra Hiramekare emitted, but Mangetsu soldiered on. He slashed at Mei and cut her in half, killing her with his incandescent sword. But the two halves of Mei turned into water. It was a clone. Damn it, she probably used that after the steam shockwave hit me, Mangetsu thought as the ground beneath him turned into lava. His feet boiled with shocking intensity as the water from the rest of his body was still being destroyed, and the mist completely melted Hiramekare's chakra as Mei emerged from the lava and stood on it. The incandescent magma dripped all around her, leaving her completely unscathed. It was as if she had just been swimming in a regular pool, except she had been submerged in molten rock. When Mei locked her bloody eyes, surrounded by dripping glowing magma, Mangetsu felt fear. He grunted and used water sail to solidify the rock beneath him and used that to jump towards Mei. Fear was for the weak. Forget about the fear. She's the enemy. Die, you traitor! He swung the sword wildly. Suigetsu had never seen his brother losing his composure like that. It's over, Mei said, weaving a one-handed seal. The lava Mangetsu was cruising over rose, forming a tendril that took the shape of an incandescent blade. And as Mangetsu extended his arms to swing the sword, the tendril cut them, exploding the area where it slashed with a powerful steam gust. With his arms severed, Hiramekare flew, no longer held by Mangetsu's hands, and Mei jumped, grabbing the sword midair and slashed, hitting Mangetsu with the flat of the blade, which made him fly away. Mei weaved a sign and touched the glowing sword, casting a counter sealing jutsu, which would unbind the sword from Mangetsu's scroll, not letting him summon or unsummon it anymore. Should I help him? I could try, but then I can't escape. But if I don't, my brother will die. But if it was because of him that Kai died, Mei is right. The Mist Village is rotten. But I can't. I have to escape, but I want to go back. Suigetsu thought, crying in utter confusion as the mist consumed his skin. You took my blades. Now what? You just killing me in cold blood for revenge? Is that going to satisfy you? Mangetsu said, standing up. Mei weaved a sign, magma style, lava well. A circular section of the ground beneath Suigetsu turned into lava and he began to sink, his fit boiling. Damn it. She launched me here on purpose. She had prepared this section to turn into lava when she was underground. Mangetsu bellowed and motioned to shoot a water bullet at Mei, but Mei was faster. Before he could release the bullet, she spat a quick orb of acid that hit the arm he was about to shoot her from and destroyed it. Mangetsu screamed in burning agony. That was not a regular strike. The acid actually destroyed his arm. He wasn't able to dodge because the lava encircled him and imprisoned him from beneath. If you think this is about revenge, then you understood nothing, Mangetsu, Mei said, and spat a thick jet of acid, hitting Mangetsu on the chest. The jet crossed his torso, exiting out of his back. A gaping hole almost the size of his chest framed Mei, who stood resolute. Mangetsu tried to utter a word, but he collapsed. His limp, water-like body fell on the magma, lifeless. Suigetsu watched everything in shock. He didn't know what emotion he felt exactly. His brother had just died in front of him. He was not happy about it, but he wasn't sad either. A sense of emptiness overtook him, and then came a realization. It's my turn now, isn't it? She's gonna kill me too. I should have just run away when she was distracted, shouldn't I? I could have gone back to the village and warned them, but I wanted to escape. But I couldn't escape. I had to go back. And even if I warned them about Mei's betrayal, what good would I have done? Suigetsu thought. Mei dropped Hiramekare and approached him. She was quite hurt. Her dress depicted several bloodstains and scorch marks. Her right eye was red with blood, but her face was neutral. She didn't look happy after killing Mangetsu, which surprised Suigetsu. He thought she'd be rejoicing. Can you do it quickly? Suigetsu asked, resigning himself. Resisting her would be futile. She was orders of magnitude more powerful. I'm not going to kill you, Suigetsu. What? But why? I don't get it. Wouldn't you take your revenge? I already said I am not here for revenge. But then why did you kill my brother? Wasn't it to avenge Kai? Wasn't that the whole point? No, revenge wouldn't bring her back. I killed him because I had to. Killing you would serve nothing. You're as much of a victim as Kai was. What do you mean? The Mist Village is a desecrated place. Ever since the third Mizukage implemented the bloody examinations, our children have been slaughtering each other, and they're all victims. The ones who die are obviously so, but the ones who survive will carry that trauma forever. Well, I agree. I don't know how that's supposed to make you stronger. I just can't understand that logic. A shinobi is nothing but a tool for them, and tools do not require emotions. Actually, having emotions will be detrimental, but people can never completely erase their emotions no matter how hard they try. The academy exams must stop. The killing must stop. That is why I had to kill your brother. I don't understand. Why does it have to do with it? The only way to stop our children from massacring each other is to destroy the current system of the Mist Village. And for that, the fourth Mizukage, as well as other powerful ninjas that hold the same beliefs, must die. Your brother was a prime candidate to become fifth Mizukage if the fourth Mizukage died. And if that happened, nothing would change. It would simply keep the current regime operating as is. Wait, the fourth Mizukage is dead? Mei sighed. I'll tell you everything. I suppose I owe you this much at least. No, he's not dead yet. I will have him assassinated, and then I will become the 5th Mizukage to destroy the Bloody Mist regime. That's why killing possible successors is important. The powerful ninjas who are aligned with the regime must die. But that's insane. How can you overthrow the whole village by yourself? The whole system? I mean, sure, in a 1 versus 1, yeah, you killed my brother, but the whole village is gonna be too much. I know you're strong, but you're overestimating yourself. Maybe I can help you. I want to fix things too. I hated what they had to do to Kai. I told her to kill me and she went along with it, but my hydrification jutsu awakened and I couldn't turn it off, so I had to kill her. Suigetsu started to cry again, remembering the worst moment of his life. Mei gave him a sad smile. Thank you for your offer, but I am not alone. I'm certain you've heard the stories about me trying to find a suitable man over the last few years, traveling around the land of water, spending all my clan's funds to do it. I have. Well, you're also dressing differently. That was a facade. I don't wear that for true battles. I've been dressing like a courtesan, and I have been spreading rumors about myself to hide my true actions and intentions. If they think of me as a loose, incompetent woman, they will not investigate me any further. Their regime will be happy with me being a ninja that's promiscuous. But all this time, I've been building up a resistance group from the shadows, buying off powerful nobles from the land of water, garnering support from mist ninjas that also disagree with the system. That's why I could never spend time with Kai. I wish I had had more time with her. I wish I could have launched the coup before she took the exams, so she wouldn't have to die. But it just wasn't ready yet. We have one chance to make it work. We cannot waste it. And Zabuza almost ruined it already. Zabuza? You mean he was working with you? He was very dissatisfied with the system. He agreed to work with us, but he got too impatient and attempted to assassinate Yagura by himself without any preparations. If Yagura had died then, another would have taken his place. Someone like your brother. I had to delay my plans for a long time to clear off any suspicion and make the village elders and Yagura think Zabuza was just an unhinged psychopath with no other motive other than killing for the sake of it. Maybe if that hadn't happened, I could have launched the coup before your graduation exam. So it's close now. The coup. Yes, I must get rid of any possible successors to Yagura, and I've been doing a good job with that. After that, it will be Yagura himself, and once that is done, my hidden coalition will strike and instate me as Mizukage. Hopefully with all other candidates dead, the village elders and the feudal lord will just choose me without coercion. But if it comes to it, we will launch a violent coup. And what happens to me? Mei sighed. I've done some terrible things in the process of building this rebellion. The means justify the ends, I've always thought to myself. But thinking that doesn't make me sleep any better at night. Still, the Bloody Mist village must fall, so I must continue. Continue? I am not going to kill you, but I will use you to destroy the system, Suigetsu. What? How? I'm sorry. I wish there was another way. Thank you for everything you did to Kai. If this world was a fair place, I would be your sister-in-law now. Mei snatched Suigetsu's headband from his waist. I will keep this, so I will never forget the cost we had to pay, and so I can honor your sacrifice. Sacrifice? What are you going to do with me? Mei weaved hand signs, and a small earth dome rose from the ground, encasing Suigetsu in it. He slashed at the inner earth walls, and he used water-style attacks against them, but Mei simply regenerated them. The only light he could see was from tiny holes in the rock that allowed air to pass, so Suigetsu could breathe. So she's just using me, just like the village uses everybody else. At the end, it's all the same. But if at least she can change the system using me, then Kai's sacrifice wouldn't have been in vain. Suigetsu thought, and he felt the dome lifting off the ground. It began to move. Where are you taking me? Please, can you tell me that, Mei? Suigetsu shouted, but he heard no reply. He didn't know how, but he just knew Mei wasn't taking him back to the Mist Village, to that cursed place who took Kai away from him, but also the place they met and lived, the place that connected them, the place that held her memories. Not even that remained for Suigetsu. Now, there was nothing left. Suigetsu didn't know for how long he was stuck in the darkness. It felt like days. He couldn't hear what was happening outside, only faint, vague noises. May molded the earth to send water and food into the stonework to maintain Suigetsu alive, but there was nothing for him to do there. The thought of Kai kept on invading his mind, bringing back the pain. In his solitude, he realized he couldn't even cry anymore. Was that resignation, or was he simply too numb? Suigetsu didn't know, but he didn't feel numb. The anguish never quite left him. But strangely, if he could be of any use, if he could do something to improve the Mist Village so that no one else would have to go through what he did, then at least there would be a silver lining to it all. After what seemed like an eternity, the Earth Dome cracked and disintegrated, releasing Suigetsu. He thought about dashing away, but Suigetsu felt weak, and he realized he was in a strange place, with even stranger people. Mei was next to where the Earth Orb once stood. She still had the battle marks from the fight against Mangetsu showing all around her body and clothes. They were at a dark storage location. There were no windows, and the room smelled like mold. Suigetsu thought they were probably underground. Two men stood a few meters away from them. One had gray hair and round glasses. The other had a strange green hair, and his entire body was covered in bandages. They both stared at Suigetsu, and their gazes, especially from the man in bandages, seemed to exert physical pressure on him. That strange man had the eyes of a snake, ready to pounce and kill his prey. "I didn't know you enjoyed confining children, Mei," the man with glasses said with an outrageously arrogant smirk. "I'm not doing this out of enjoyment," she said firmly, but Suigetsu could tell she was tense. Is she afraid of them? He thought. Suigetsu himself was scared, but if Mei was scared as well, then things were dire. She was strong enough to kill Mangetsu, and Mangetsu was extremely powerful, so who could these guys be?
There is no need to antagonize our guest, Kabuto. She already looks panicky enough. And take a good look at her. She's quite hurt. Perhaps you should offer some medical assistance.
The other man said. His voice was unsettling. And even though he told the other not to antagonize me, the way he spoke just made things even more intimidating. I thought she had been one to contact us, but I suppose I could offer you medical assistance. I did contact you, but I don't need your assistance. I wish to make a deal with you. Orochimaru. Orochimaru? That's Orochimaru! Suigetsu thought as terror took over him. He heard many stories about this man. They were all horrifying. He was probably the ninja with the most vile reputation in the world. Why would Mei want to make a deal with him? She told Suigetsu she wanted to restore the Mist Village, make it a better place. How could that man help her with that?
A deal? You take me for a reasonable man? I am flattered.
Of course I don't. I'm not insane. Do you really think it's wise to provoke when you're offering a deal? Don't forget you're trapped in here. You put yourself in a terrible position. This better be a great deal. Otherwise, we cannot ensure your safety here. Don't mock me. Oh, by the way you look, it's hard not to mock. If I am to die here, I'll make sure to bring both of you with me.
You are a feisty one, Mei. What deal have you come here to offer me, risking so much?
I have a job for you. One that will be very much to your liking.
I am not a mercenary.
I know you aren't, but you haven't heard me out. You wouldn't want to pass out on it. I know the types of things you like. Orochimaru smirked.
Go on.
I want you to kill Yagura, the 4th Mizukage.
Now that's a tall order.
You've killed the Hokage and the Kazekage. I expected you'd enjoy killing another of the 5 Kage.
Yagura is a powerful shinobi and the Jinchuriki of the 3 Tails. It wouldn't be a simple task.
And that's not even counting on how difficult it would be to launch an invasion on the Mist Village to assassinate him. We had to do a lot of work with the Sand Village to put us in a position to attack the Leaf and kill those 2 Kage. That will not be necessary. I will provide you with a time and location of when Yagura will be away from the village and relatively alone. Orochimaru took his hand to his bandaged chin. Suigetsu couldn't see his mouth, but he could tell by the only exposed eye that Orochimaru was smiling. I know you want to see the world changing, to plant seeds of chaos and observe the outcome. This would certainly do that.
You are a cunning one. There's far more to you than meets the eye. But why would you want your own Kage dead? That is high treason.
To overthrow the current regime and establish a new system to the village. To stop the senseless massacring of children. Yagura is a foul man. The Mist is a foul village. I have put most pieces into place. Once Yagura falls, I will become the 5th Mizukage and start a revolution in my village. How boring. That can't be it. What's your real motive? There is no reason to stop the children from killing each other, and that's what makes your village and your shinobi who they are. I speak the truth. I have no ulterior motive. If you keep on lying to us...
No, Kabuto. She's not lying. She truly is an altruistic soul, risking everything to save the children of her village.
And you find that deplorable?
No, I find that magnificent. An angel who yearns for the salvation of her mortals comes to make a deal with the devil, tainting and sacrificing her own soul so that theirs will remain immaculate.
My soul has been tainted for a long time. I wonder, though, if you think you have what it takes, why don't you kill Yagura yourself? I need an external force to kill him, and one that wouldn't provoke a war with the other villages. I can't do it myself because I can't have his assassination pinned on me, so I need you to claim his death when you do it.
The Miss Village wouldn't rest until they hunt me down.
Isn't there any village now, anyway? You're worth 1 billion ryo in the bingo book. Orochimaru and Kabuto both smirked. When I become Mizukage, I'll make sure not to spend time and resources looking for you. I'll obviously condemn Yagura's assassination, but the Mist won't move to kill or capture you or your allies. But if Lord Orochimaru kills another Kage, he will become an even greater bounty around the world. Surely you have something else to offer us, other than the simple chance and satisfaction to kill a Kage. I really thought another Kage wouldn't add too much to your resume. After all, you might be the most wanted rogue ninja in the world at this point.
Yes, I surpassed Itachi after the Hokage and Kazekage's assassination.
What else do you have to give us in exchange? I know one of your goals is to destroy the Akatsuki. You were once one of them, weren't you, Orochimaru? But now they're a problem for you. Killing Yagura will greatly diminish the Akatsuki's powers.
How so?
Mei sighed. After all the intel I collected, I am confident to say Yagura is an agent of the Akatsuki. For the first time in that conversation, Orochimaru looked surprised.
In what capacity?
That is unclear. I don't know what type of deal he has struck with the Akatsuki, but they've been using my village as a base of operations, and they have countless hideouts around the Land of Water. Yagura is actively cooperating and helping them with whatever goals they have, providing financial and manpower support. The Akatsuki might as well be an ally of the Mist Village. I take it you didn't know that, did you?
I wasn't in the Akatsuki for very long.
The Land of Water makes for a good hiding place, away from the continent and the other great villages. Fewer people, thousands of small islands. It makes sense.
Has Sasori ever mentioned anything like that to you?
I'm afraid not. What the hell are they talking about? What is this Akatsuki? What does it mean that Yagura is working with him? Suigetsu was very confused. Those bastards wearing their red cloud cloaks have been using our country and leeching our resources, on top of being the worst type of ninja to have around. Red clouds? Suigetsu remembered something. A few months ago, Mangetsu and he went on a mission to deliver a package to a strange man wearing a black cloak with red clouds. He had green eyes and looked intimidating. His headband was crossed. Could he have been an Akatsuki? Suigetsu had a distinct impression they were delivering him a large amount of money, provided to him by Yagura himself. When I become Mizukage, I will crack down on the Akatsuki, wipe out their hideouts, and eliminate any other members in the Land of Water territories. That will force them back to the continent, which will make them more vulnerable. I suspect that's something that would help you.
The Akatsuki is not so easily defeated. Even if you stop supporting them and launch a campaign to expel them from your land, they have means to escape escape you and elude even your best shinobi.
Still, it'll be much worse for them if one of the 5 major nations isn't providing them direct support.
Killing Kages is not a light task. I am living proof of that. The reward you offer is still too immaterial and abstract for me to take such risks.
I figured you'd say that. Mei pointed at Suigetsu. He'll be your upfront payment. What? What do you mean?
One child is hardly anything.
He's not any child. He's a member of the Hozuki clan, and he inherited their Kekkei Genkai. Orochimaru's tongue popped out of the bandages and licked his lips as his eye lingered on Suigetsu with unquenchable thirst.
The second Mizukage clan. So he possesses the hydrification jutsu.
Yes. Orochimaru appeared in front of Suigetsu. A snake came out of his mouth, and out of the snake's mouth emerged a sword that pierced Suigetsu through the heart, and the sword exited his back. Water squirted out of his wound. Suigetsu let out a gasp, only realizing what had happened after the sword was already lodged in him. Mei had raised a water barrier around her to respond to Orochimaru's attack. The snake and the sword came back to Orochimaru's mouth. The blade dripped water as it left Suigetsu's torso. Orochimaru's mouth was now exposed, for the bandages had bursted after his attack.
I had to make sure you weren't lying.
I know you like Kekkei Genkais to experiment on. I'll give him to you in exchange for Yagura's head.
So you're sacrificing one of your own children for the greater good of all the others. Your soul is truly tainted.
Orochimaru took a step closer, getting face to face with Mei. They locked eyes, and the tension was palpable in the air.
Indeed, I love Kekkei Genkais, and you, Mei Terumi, have 2 of them.
She tensed up, reinforcing the water barrier around her, ready to fight. No! Stop, please! Suigetsu shouted. I'll go with you! It's fine! Orochimaru turned his gaze to him and smiled.
Why are you trying to help her?
It's over for me. At least if you help her with Yagura, the brutality will end.
What is your name, child?
Suigetsu.
You will be very useful, Suigetsu.
I have something else to give you. Mei grabbed a scroll in haste, trying to improve her deal. She opened the scroll and used hand signs to summon something, but it wasn't just anything. It was Mangetsu's mangled, watery corpse. That sight made Suigetsu's stomach churn. Even though he wasn't devastated about his brother's death, seeing him that way made him feel sick. He had still been his brother, his family, and the one who took care of Suigetsu after their parents died, and now he was being exchanged as if he was a simple commodity. That was ironic though, for Mangetsu had told Suigetsu many times that shinobis had monetary value, and they were nothing but tools. Even after his death, Mangetsu was adhering to his own logic. This is another Hozuki, this boy's older brother. I know a dead one isn't going to be as useful, but I figured it wouldn't hurt.
Mangetsu, huh? Yes, he will be very useful.
Orochimaru returned to Kabuto's side.
I was just joking. I accept your deal.
I'll inform you of when and where Yagura will be at his most vulnerable, Mei said, as Kabuto picked up Mangetsu's corpse and sealed him instead of a scroll of his own.
As for you, Suigetsu, you are coming with us.
Mei turned around, but before she left, she touched a hand on Suigetsu's shoulder. I'm sorry. I wish it didn't have to be this way. A single tear ran down her cheek, and she left the storage room. Suigetsu traveled blindfolded for almost 3 days. Apparently, Orochimaru and Kabuto didn't want him to know where the hideout they were taking him was located. Not that Suigetsu would have a clue, even if he could see the whole way. The journey was awfully silent. Orochimaru and Kabuto barely talked to Suigetsu, and he didn't want to provoke those 2 weirdos by taking off his blindfold. Although his gut told him that somehow they were communicating amongst each other. Obviously, they didn't want Suigetsu to know all their plans. Suigetsu didn't care about that. He honestly didn't. What frightened him was what they would do to him. Would they dissect Suigetsu? The hydrification jutsu could save him for a while, but if Suigetsu ran out of chakra, they could actually do it. He tried not to think about his own future, but the anxiety almost got the better of him during the journey. In the darkness, he realized his life had completely shifted, irreversibly so. Would Orochimaru own him forever? Could Suigetsu ever get strong enough to flee? Kai told him to survive, but Suigetsu Suigetsu was at their mercy. He had a feeling the hydrification jutsu wouldn't solve all his problems. So to try to lighten things up, Suigetsu decided to lean even more on his mask of humor. Or was it really a mask now? Suigetsu didn't even know. He got the feeling he had become naturally more humorous, laughing at a terrible situation here and there, cracking inappropriate jokes. At least it allowed him for a brief moment to escape the situation. Think back to better times when he used to splash Kai's face with water for their amusement. After 3 days of journey, they finally took off his blindfold. Suigetsu found himself in another underground location. It was dark and devoid of any decoration. So this is your evil lair?
Something like that.
Come with me, Suigetsu. I'll show you your quarters, and then run some tests. Suigetsu's quarters was actually a large water tank hooked up to a web of wires that sent chakra into it to analyze the properties of what was inside and also to neutralize whoever was inside from producing any jutsus. Suigetsu could still mash his body with the water in the tank, but somehow Orochimaru and Kabuto found a way to make him a prisoner there. Escaping was impossible. They ran several experiments on Suigetsu, collecting sections of his water body, subjecting him to all types of damage. Most of them didn't work, but a few did, and those hurt a lot. Sometimes they took Suigetsu out of the tank for experiments, and they also made Suigetsu fight against several of Orochimaru's other prisoners. Suigetsu won every single fight, but he didn't kill them, and Kabuto and Orochimaru didn't seem to care Suigetsu was sparing them. As a matter of fact, Suigetsu barely even saw Orochimaru anymore. Kabuto was much more involved with his experiments, as well as a few other scientists that worked for the Snake Man. Where are you taking me this time? Suigetsu asked Kabuto as they traveled to a different hideout. I've already collected a lot of data on your KK Genkai, so now I'll run some joint tests. Test a few hypotheses. Suigetsu didn't want to inquire any further. Kabuto was a weirdo. He didn't want to give him any further ideas. Many of the experiments Kabuto did on Suigetsu caused a lot of pain and other forms of discomfort. Weirdly though, he got the feeling Kabuto didn't hate him or anything. Suigetsu was simply a tool for his goals. A tool that reminded him of his brother. Suigetsu and Kabuto arrived at a new hideout, a few dozen kilometers away from the one Suigetsu was usually kept in. It was pretty similar to the one he was used to, all things considered, built for function and stealth more than anything else. Kabuto took Suigetsu to a large room with some lab equipment. A girl around Suigetsu's age waited for them there. She wore glasses and her hair was red. Suigetsu stared at her. His mind took him back to a time that seemed like eons ago. What are you staring at me for, you weirdo? Suigetsu took a moment to realize she was talking to him. It's just your hair. Remind me of... Never mind. If you don't quit that, you'll regret it. Suigetsu's right eye twitched in annoyance. Who does that girl think she is? He thought. Why did you bring this pervert here, Kabuto? I'll run some experiments with the two of you. That's why. No, I don't want to do anything with him. Look at his face. What's that supposed to mean? You look like you fell off your cradle when you were born. Shut up, you little cow. What did you call me? Little cow! The girl punched Suigetsu in the face. His head popped into water, drenching her over. Yeah! What the hell is that? Did I just kill him? That's so disgusting! Suigetsu's head reformed itself. You wish, he said with a smirk and splashed the girl with a water blast. I'm gonna kill you! Quiet, the two of you, Kabuto said, pulling a vial with green liquid from his satchel. His tone became far more serious. Let's begin. Suigetsu, extend your arm forward. The two kids shut up and Suigetsu extended his arm begrudgingly. Kabuto poured the liquid on his arm and it burned like hell. Suigetsu had to grit his teeth not to scream. The red-haired girl was looking at him, so he didn't want to give her the satisfaction. As I expected, the hydrification jutsu doesn't work on it. I did my best to replicate Mate Rumi's vapor-style jutsu, and it seems like my efforts paid off. Kabuto smiled. Very nice of you to burn me like that. The patch of Suigetsu's arm with the acid steamed, and the water was not coalescing back. And thanks for giving me that scar. Not so fast. I brought Karin here for that reason. Huh? No, I'm not doing it! You don't have a choice, I'm afraid. Suigetsu, bite her arm. What? Why would I do that? So she can heal you, or at least try. I've tried to recover your water body with my regular healing ninjutsu, but it doesn't work. Karin's healing abilities, though, are special. I'm interested to see if they're going to work on you. I'm not letting this
strong girl bite me?
Kabuto snatched her arm and yanked her out of place, pulling her arm close to Suigetsu. The girl let out a quiet yelp. She was suffering. Suigetsu could tell her annoyingness was probably a defense mechanism just like his humor. Bite her. Suigetsu did so, but very gently, and Karin was surprised by that. You have to bite with far more gusto.
Yeah, just get over with it, you pervert! You're just enjoying yourself at this point.
Suigetsu grunted and acquiesced. He bit, digging into her skin, and Karin winced. A large amount of chakra came washing over Suigetsu's body, and he felt great. The acid wound closed up, and the pain faded away. Interesting. It works. Your abilities are quite impressive, Karin.
Whatever! Can I see Sasuke now?
You will see Sasuke when Lord Orochimaru decides you can see Sasuke.
But he said it's not fair!
The girl was holding back tears. And who was this Sasuke guy? Her brother or something? As a matter of fact, Suigetsu will be the one to see Sasuke. Lord Orochimaru designated you as his training partner for a while.
What? Why him? Why not me?
She looked at Suigetsu with burning hatred as tears fell down her cheeks.
Hey, don't look at me like that. I don't even know who this guy is. And did you really have to tell her that?
Kabuto smirked, turning his palms upwards, and Karin punched him in the face again, popping his head once more. You know, punching me is not gonna make you see Sasuke, I'm afraid. Suigetsu thought about making a joke and throwing more water at her, but she was truly distressed, so he decided not to. After another day of travel, Kabuto and Suigetsu arrived at another hideout. It was again pretty similar to the other two, except that this time, Suigetsu felt a terrible feeling. Something deep inside that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Kabuto took him to an underground sparring facility that looked like a pit battle arena. A man appeared from another door. He looked different, but Suigetsu would never forget those eyes. The snake gaze. That was Orochimaru, alright. Suigetsu had heard that was his regular form.
Our drill bag has arrived.
Suigetsu didn't dare say a word.
You are a proficient swordsman, aren't you, Suigetsu?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Sasuke!
A boy emerged from the same place Orochimaru came from. He was also around Suigetsu's age, with black hair, and his eyes, they were red. He walked into the arena with a cold but determined face. He wasn't nervous at all, or at least he didn't seem like it. Suigetsu imagined that living around Orochimaru would be a nerve-wracking experience, but this guy didn't seem to mind it. So that's the Sasuke that girl Karin was talking about. Doesn't look like her brother, Suigetsu thought.
Suigetsu will help you develop your swordship skills. You can go all out on him, Sasuke. Aim for the kill.
I am not killing him.
No, you won't. That's the beauty of it. You can simulate all-out combat because blades don't work on his body. You can hack and slash on him and nothing will happen.
Sasuke let out a sound of acknowledgement. He was terribly condescending towards Orochimaru. Was it sheer stupidity or was this guy a big deal?
Suigetsu, you must go full force as well. Try to kill him.
But if I hit him, he will...
Kabuto will heal Sasuke if it comes to it.
Alright, sir. Understood. Sasuke and Suigetsu drew their blades and assumed battle stances facing each other. Suigetsu looked straight into his red eyes, and he felt dizzy. Suigetsu could swear the eyes were spinning and getting bigger. Before he lost his stomach, Suigetsu lunged forward and slashed at Sasuke's head, hitting the left temple and slicing through his skull.
What? He didn't even try to protect himself? What the hell? How weak was this guy?
Suigetsu thought in horror of what he did. If this guy was Orochimaru's prized pupil, and Suigetsu just killed him, that meant the snake man would kill Suigetsu in the worst possible way imaginable. No, but he told me to go for the kill. How would I know that Sasuke was so weak? Suigetsu dared to look at Orochimaru. He wanted to gauge his reaction, and to his surprise, the snake man had the creepiest grin on his face. A blade emerged out of Suigetsu's stomach, splashing droplets of water.
What?
He said, not understanding what happened.
You are supposed to train swordsmanship, not genjutsu, Sasuke.
Sasuke's corpse faded out of existence. I couldn't resist. He was asking for it, looking straight into my eyes. Sasuke sat from behind Suigetsu, holding his blade blade that still crossed the watery torso of Suigetsu. He put me under a genjutsu just by looking into my eyes? That's crazy, Suigetsu thought.
I would advise you not to look into Sasuke's Sharingan, Suigetsu.
Sharingan, like the copy ninja, so this guy actually is a big deal. Suigetsu ran forward, freeing his chest of Sasuke's blade and spun around slashing, but Sasuke parried his attack. Quite easily, in fact, to Suigetsu's surprise. That was fast. But what about this? Suigetsu thought and unleashed a flurry of cuts and thrusts, but Sasuke, as if he knew Suigetsu's every move, parried them with annoying elegance. Damn it, he's good! Suigetsu motioned to unleash another combo, but Sasuke acted faster. Sasuke's blade neutralized Suigetsu's in a bind, and Sasuke stepped forward, overpowering Suigetsu's form and thrusting to the middle of his forehead. Sasuke's blade crossed his head and emerged on the other side. What? He took advantage of a tiny window when my guard was transitioning and used a perfect bind thrust combination to attack me. Only a master swordsman will be able to perceive such a tiny window of opportunity. What the hell? Suigetsu pulled his head out of Sasuke's sword and re-engaged. He tried a double feinting strike. His goal was to attract Sasuke's sword upwards to protect his head, but redirect the attack to Sasuke's stomach. But Sasuke saw through it as well. He cut Suigetsu's hand, which turned into water, and sliced his stomach, drenching the ground beneath them. The two boys kept on fighting under the heavy gaze of Orochimaru. Suigetsu tried everything he knew. All types of attacks, combos, and guards his brother had taught him. Even some very unorthodox styles. But nothing worked. It was as if Sasuke could see the future, and his blade work was much more elegant than Suigetsu's. He drew water out of Suigetsu time and time again, and Suigetsu couldn't land a single cut.
As expected, having you copy the moves of that Snow Village Swordsmaster paid off.
After over 3 hours of sparring, Suigetsu was exhausted. But so was Sasuke. He could tell that could be Suigetsu's chance. And he also noticed that Sasuke's eyes reverted back to their regular form. They were no longer red, which made Sasuke lose his elegance, and it made him worse at parrying and reading Suigetsu's movements. But he was still a better swordsman than Suigetsu. He's faster than me and much more talented. But without the Sharingan, there's a chance. I may not be able to land a clear hit, but I don't have to. With my hydrification jutsu, double hits are all mine, Suigetsu thought. A double hit was when both swordsmen hit each other at the same time, which usually was a bad thing. You would take your opponent out, but die in the process. For Suigetsu, however, double hits were as good as clean hits. And now that Sasuke's Sharingan was not activated, his form wasn't as refined, meaning that Suigetsu could try to force a double hit. He blocked an incoming strike, parrying Sasuke's blade and breaking his guard. Suigetsu lunged forward with his sword. Sasuke, realizing he wouldn't have time to block, brought his sword back down, attempting to stop Suigetsu's attack before he got to Sasuke, but there was no time. They would both strike each other at the same time, meaning Suigetsu would win the exchange. Wait a minute, this is not genjutsu anymore. I might actually kill him, Suigetsu realized as his sword was inches away from Sasuke's neck. But a snake bit Suigetsu's blade, stopping it before it landed on Sasuke, whose blade in turn cut through Suigetsu's neck, beheading him. Orochimaru had extended a snake out of his sleeve to catch Suigetsu's blade.
It took a little over 3 hours for you to get damaged, Sasuke. It appears that is your current time limit for the Sharingan if you don't use other jutsus,
Orochimaru said as Suigetsu's head reformed. It's rising steadily. It appears the chakra-enhancing pills I developed are working. Why don't you create more powerful pills? Sasuke demanded. He was frustrated. It seemed like Sasuke thought he wasn't getting stronger fast enough. I could, but I designed them specifically for your body, Sasuke, so that the benefits they bring won't cause you too much long-term harm. Making them more powerful would overwhelm your internal organs and shorten your lifespan significantly. I already developed the anti-stasis drug that allows your body to recover much faster so you don't have to sleep as much. And Aromatics are applying healing ninjutsu on your muscles for you to recover much faster from training sessions. That already increased the amount of training you get substantially. I don't care about my lifespan. Just make me stronger.
Now, you don't want to die before you achieve your goals. All your efforts would be meaningless if that happened. Besides, I've never had a pupil that progressed so fast as you are, Sasuke. Just be a bit more patient.
Fine.
Now come, it is time for your stamina training.
Orochimaru and Sasuke left. Stamina training? After 3 hours of sparring? Is this guy insane? I can barely walk from exhaustion. Suigetsu thought, exasperated. You'll be staying in this hideout for the foreseeable future, acting as Sasuke's sparring partner, Kabuto told Suigetsu. Sounds good, I guess. Just one more thing. Lord Orochimaru and I won't be around all the time when you spar. If you kill Lord Orochimaru's prized vessel, you will suffer more than you can possibly imagine. Kabuto said that in a weirdly casual tone, which made it 10 times more disturbing to Suigetsu. But he's way better than I am. How can I do that? You say that, and yet you would have killed him in that last attack. So I suggest you don't try the double hit feint again when Sasuke's Sharingan deactivates. Alright, I won't. I'm surrounded by all these creepy monsters. Damn it. I guess it's my life now. I doubt I have any chances of escaping at all, Suigetsu thought. The following day on their next sparring session, Sasuke was even stronger, faster, and more precise with his blade work. It was infuriating. Was he holding back yesterday? It's either that or he's literally improved this much in a single day. Suigetsu thought as Sasuke landed a slicing cut to his side. No, that's not possible. Maybe he was tired yesterday or something. Or, because nobody is watching today, he's letting everything out. Who knows? I wonder how well he would have done against my brother in a sword fight. After over 3 hours, Sasuke's Sharingan deactivated and Suigetsu called off the session. He wouldn't want to hurt Orochimaru's precious little boy. He hadn't landed a single hit on him while the Sharingan was on, and not for lack of trying, but Suigetsu knew he could do it when Sasuke's Sharingan was no longer on. I admit, you're a very good swordsman. How long have you been training your blade work? Since last week, Suigetsu laughed. Okay, but seriously, I'm just curious. I am serious. I had never used a sword until last week. He's not joking, Suigetsu thought in utter shock. But how? How is this possible? Suigetsu shouted. That guy had been training for a week, and he was already far better than Suigetsu at swordsmanship, who had been training since he remembered. Suigetsu's very first memory was him holding a wooden sword and swinging it against his dad. Sasuke sighed. I have inherited a great amount of talent from my clan. I have to hone that talent to its limit.
Time for your stamina training, Sasuke.
Orochimaru said right after he arrived. Sasuke walked away, but before leaving the pit, he stopped. You were stronger today than you were yesterday. You're not a slouch, he said and left. Not a slouch? Is he mocking me? He's the one who's got a lot stronger from yesterday. Now I see why he's Orochimaru's favorite. So these types of people actually exist, huh? Over the next 2 weeks, Suigetsu and Sasuke sparred every day. Sasuke's development was insane. He got much stronger every time they sparred again. Orochimaru watched their sessions every other day. Needless to say, Suigetsu felt much better when the Snake Man wasn't around. So, how did Orochimaru get his fangs on you? Suigetsu asked Sasuke after a session on a day Orochimaru wasn't around. What do you mean? Like, how did he capture you or whatever? You're from the Leaf Village, aren't you? I came here willingly. What? What would anyone do that? Orochimaru can offer me something I need. And what is that? A big tongue? Power. Suigetsu sighed. He didn't understand the guy at all. Power for what? Vengeance. I see. Suigetsu's face turned grim all of a sudden. The image of Kai smiling popped in his mind.
I am canceling your training today, Sasuke.
Orochimaru said after he arrived to watch them spar. And we just begun.
Today your training will be more practical.
Orochimaru opened a wide grin. Meaning?
We are going on a mission.
What mission?
To kill a Kage.
I'm not killing anyone except for him.
You don't have to do it yourself. I'll be doing that part. But fighting against a Kage will be a good measure of strength and development, and it will give you an idea of how powerful enemies will become. Your quarry is far more formidable than a Kage.
Excuse me, Lord Orochimaru, is this Kage Yagura?
Precisely.
So he is going to fulfill his end of the bargain with me. Kill that bastard. Suigetsu clenched his fist. I'm not letting you kill an innocent man because of your whims.
Yagura is anything but innocent. As the fourth Mizukage he promoted several genocides of small populations around the Land of Water, and commanded his own youth time and time again to kill each other so that they can become ninjas of the mist. A terrible man indeed.
Orochimaru's words were laced with poisonous irony.
If Yagura dies, the mist will go through a regime change, become more humane. Wouldn't that something you'd like to see, my dear Sasuke? Not to mention, Yagura is aiding the Akatsuki, funding them, providing logistical support. If Yagura dies, it will gravely affect the Akatsuki, and it will be a great blow to him by consequence. That is very much in your interest.
Yagura is an evil, foul man. He needs to die for the sake of everyone. I've seen what he can do firsthand. He should die, Suigetsu said with a low voice. Sasuke sheathed his sword. Fine, we're going.
Good. This will be very interesting.
Wait, please, Lord Orochimaru! Suigetsu gathered up courage to speak. Can I go with you, please?
And why would you want to risk yourself like that?
Vengeance. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, looking at Suigetsu.
I see you haven't finished business with your old Mizukage. We'll take care of it for you, little Suigetsu.
No, he's coming with us, Sasuke commanded. How could he be so bold? Orochimaru looked from Sasuke to Suigetsu and narrowed his eyes.
You won't use this as a chance to escape, will you, Suigetsu?
No, I'm going with you to kill Yagura.
Very well then, you may join us. Your powers could be useful.
Thanks, Suigetsu whispered to Sasuke, who nodded back at him.
Mei Terumi informed us that only 2 missed Anbu ninjas will be escorting Yagura. We must deal with them first to make sure they can't escape with knowledge of our attack.
Orochimaru said as the 3 jumped from tree branch to tree branch. Where will they be exactly?
They are headed to the waterfall village, so they will be crossing over the Sound territories.
Orochimaru licked his lips with his oversized tongue.
They are right up ahead.
Yagura, that little bastard. He caused all the suffering in Suigetsu's life. He made Suigetsu kill the shark people. He made Suigetsu kill Kai, and now he would die. Suigetsu saw red. His face tensed up, and he unsheathed his blade. 2 masked Mist Anbu flanked Yagura from each side as they walked through the forest. Lord Mizukage, we have enemies approaching! One of them shouted. A barrage of water bullets exploded from within the forest, aiming at them. Yagura and the Anbus dodged. That's the Hozuki clan water pistol! The other Anbu said. Yagura! Suigetsu cruised the air, screaming with his sword at the ready, darting at the Mizukage. One Anbu unsheathed his sword and stepped in front of the Mizukage, blocking the incoming attack with a loud metal clink. It sent sparks flying off the clashing blades. Suigetsu, good. Once we capture you, we'll find out what happened to your brother. Yagura said in a dull tone, as if he wasn't even being attacked. The Anbu engaged Suigetsu in a sword fight. They hacked and slashed against each other. Suigetsu didn't even bother parrying. He used his hydrification jutsu to survive the attacks and press on. No! You will die today, Yagura! Suigetsu screamed as Sasuke and Orochimaru emerged from the forest.
He really is eager for vengeance. Sasuke, take the Mizukage. I'll take care of the escort.
Sasuke dashed, unsheathing his sword. The second Anbu tried to engage with him, but Sasuke zigzagged and fooled him, passing by the Anbu and going straight at Yagura, aiming his blade at him. The Kage blocked the sword with his strange hook staff and engaged Sasuke with his weapon in a fierce exchange. The hook staff was bigger than him, but he could move it with so much precision and speed. Sasuke's Sharingan moved left and right to keep up, and he was being overwhelmed. Orochimaru, I should have known a foul man like you will be behind this attack, Yagura said, as he fought Sasuke. Orochimaru released over a dozen snakes from his sleeve. They darted at the second Anbu member, who turned around to attack Sasuke Sasuke from behind, but he didn't have time. The Yambu turned around and he managed to cut a few of the snakes before they got to him, but several of them attacked and bit all over his body, wrapping themselves around him, injecting deadly venom. The man screamed in agony, and Orochimaru jerked his arm upwards, pulling the snakes and dragging the Yambu into the air, and then smashing the man against the ground, creating a small crater, using the snakes to do it. Suigetsu screamed in anger, pressing down on the Yambu, as Sasuke did everything he could to keep up with the Kage. Orochimaru opened his mouth wide in an uncanny way and spat the Kusanagi sword, hitting Suigetsu in the back. The sword crossed Suigetsu and hit the Yambu he was fighting against, killing him instantly. Suigetsu completely ignored the sword that just passed through him and screamed, dashing at Yagura with all his hatred. Die! He engaged the Kage alongside Sasuke, who was being overwhelmed. The two boys now managed to press the Kage back. They had improved their sword skills a lot over the last couple of weeks, but it seemed like Yagura was just waiting for that. He hit Suigetsu, exploding his head, and pierced Sasuke's torso with his hook. Sasuke, however, became a fireball and exploded, forcing Yagura to dash back and avoid the fiery blast. A fire clone from the beginning. The real Sasuke appeared from behind the Mizukage, with a Chidori blasting on his hand, ready to strike Yagura from behind. The Kage spun around and released water from the tip of his hook staff. The water became an oval-shaped mirror that reflected Sasuke's Chidori! Water style, aqua mirror! Yagura pulled the mirror down with his hook, and another Sasuke appeared from it, mirroring the real one with a Chidori aiming at the real Sasuke. The two Chidoris clashed, and the mirror Sasuke exploded into water, sending the real Sasuke crashing and destroying trees with wisps of lightning all around his body. Yagura jumped towards him, brandishing his hook, aiming at Sasuke, but Orochimaru launched his snakes, and they wrapped themselves around the hook, which prevented Yagura from finishing Sasuke off. The Uchiha stood back up and reignited his Chidori. Yagura was forced to let go of his grapple hook staff to dodge the Chidori attack. Suigetsu unleashed another barrage of water bullets, but Yagura used a water-style barrier to protect himself that looks like the mirror. Sasuke, Orochimaru, and Suigetsu regrouped, standing a dozen meters away from the Kage. He is stronger than I expected, Sasuke said, wincing in pain, as small wisps of lightning still wrapped themselves around his body.
He is a Kage. What did you expect, Sasuke? He wouldn't just drop dead.
We can take him! We just have to attack together! Suigetsu screamed. He was still eager to go. I won't be another Kage that you kill, Orochimaru. You misjudge my abilities. A wave of chakra erupted from Yagura. It was powerful and dense. Even though Suigetsu stood a dozen meters away from him, he could feel the chakra's amazing pressure on his skin, where smaller sections turned into water because of it. Gray and red jagged plates grew out of his skin and covered the entire body of the Mizukage. Gray, wavy, and laminar chakra exuded from Yagura, cracking the ground around him, lifting up small rocks.
Partial tail beast transformation. Don't lower your guard, Sasuke.
Yagura dashed with amazing speed, breaking the ground beneath his feet. Orochimaru unleashed snakes at him, but Yagura punched them and destroyed the creatures. Before he got to them, Sasuke dashed away, and Yagura hit Suigetsu with his jagged, plated fist, destroying the entire upper part of his body. He then used the jagged parts of his carapace to cut through Orochimaru's chest, splashing blood all over him, dropping Orochimaru to the ground, and then diverted his attention towards Sasuke. The curse mark patterns covered all over Sasuke's skin, which increased his speed even further. He dodged the Mizukage's taijutsu attacks, but Yagura stepped on the ground and sent sharp, growing corals that grew on the ground and chased Sasuke. He weaved hand signs, igniting a Chidori. Sasuke slashed the corals, but Yagura dashed at him, aiming a powerful punch at Sasuke's face. That would be bad. But before Yagura hit him, a great water wall was raised in front of him. Yagura destroyed the barrier, but that allowed time for Sasuke to dodge. Sasuke looked at Suigetsu, who had reformed, and nodded in appreciation. Suigetsu nodded back, and Orochimaru's dead corpse opened his mouth and puked a new Orochimaru out of it, which grossed Suigetsu out. Damn, I thought he was dead, but that was disgusting. At least, well, he can help us kill Yagura. Fireball jutsu! Sasuke spat a fireball at Yagura, exploding him away, but the Three Tails armor prevented any extensive damage. Sasuke regrouped with Orochimaru and Suigetsu. His body was fully taken by the first stage of the curse mark. That was nothing. You haven't even seen what I can truly do. More chakra erupted out of Yagura, but this time the power was truly overwhelming. Suigetsu recoiled back, and his legs quivered in fear. The jagged plates grew out, and Yagura's body began to transform and expand, growing to a gargantuan size.
Now that's bad news.
The three tails appeared in its full might, roaring. The tail beast destroyed a large section of the forest just by appearing there, and the sound coming out of its mouth bent the trees around him that weren't destroyed, blowing away thousands of leaves. What now, Orochimaru?
In my current state, I'm afraid I can't take on a full-tailed beast.
No, we can't give up now! We have to kill him! Aren't you a legendary ninja or something? Suigetsu screamed at Orochimaru, not caring anymore, but Orochimaru looked at him, and for the first time, he felt real killing intent coming from Orochimaru towards Suigetsu himself. His hateful gaze was more frightening than the three tails. It made Suigetsu fall to the ground. Can't you summon one of those large snakes to fight against it? I can weave signs for you. I just need your blood.
The only summon I have that would be useful here is Manda, and she is very angry with me. She wouldn't want to help us in this predicament.
Then we run.
I'm afraid not. The three tails can be strangely fast on land. You'll have to subdue it, Sasuke. Take this as a test for your Sharingan.
Very well then. The curse mark patterns coalesced and were drained into his Sharingan, turning the white part of his eyes black. As the three tails motioned to attack, Sasuke locked eyes with it, and his Sharingan spun, casting an ocular genjutsu. Sasuke appeared at a strange dark place where he could see dozens of thick chains imprisoning the three tails. The gray tail beast clutched Yagura in its claws, transferring a gargantuan amount of power to him. The Mizukage was in a dazed state. He didn't notice Sasuke at all, unlike the three tails. Is this his subconscious? Sasuke wondered, but he could feel another presence lurking around, a third entity. You're not supposed to be here! The three tails screamed, looking at Sasuke. It made Sasuke's insides shake. I can leave here once you stop giving your powers to him. Sasuke pointed at Yagura. No! You're gonna kill him! I can let him die! It's too painful! It's gonna rip me apart! Then I'm gonna have to force you. Sasuke weaved hand signs, but a dark figure held his hands, stopping him from finishing them. Halt right there, Sasuke Uchiha, the figure said, with an imposing voice. He wore a strange black and orange mask and had long black hair. So you are the other one. Who are you? The figure turned his face to Sasuke. The mask had a single eye hole, and through it, Sasuke saw the unmistakable crimson hue of the Sharingan. I am a ghost. Sasuke dashed back, releasing his hands from the man's grasp. A primordial fear creeped into his mind. That eye, that man, what was him? You're an Uchiha? I am many things. That's not Itachi. I know it's not. The feeling is too different. But why does he have a Sharingan? Sasuke thought, controlling his anxiety and fear. You're controlling the Mizukage, aren't you? He's under your genjutsu. Only the Sharingan genjutsu is powerful enough to penetrate this deep into the Jinchuriki's psyche. You haven't answered my question. No, I haven't. I'm busy at the moment. We have a deal. Get rid of this brat. The three tails shouted. Unlike him, I am not presentially casting the genjutsu. I am at a great disadvantage here, three tails. And do not give me orders. The man said with disgust pouring out of his voice. Fine, I'll do whatever you want. I just don't want this wuss controlling me to his whim anymore. Never! Don't misunderstand. That offer is completely void. You'll do whatever I want, regardless of what I do, three tails. Somehow, Sasuke thought the tail beast quivered in fear. Who the hell was this guy? The three tails allowed him to control the Mizukage, so the Mizukage couldn't control it. It didn't matter. Sasuke unsheathed his sword. Brave. I wonder, Sasuke Uchiha, what is the true measure of your potential? The strange man pulled out his blade. They both locked their Sharingan eyes from a distance. The curse mark patterns and the strange patterns on the man's mask were at odds with each other. They seemed to be eager for combat. They both assumed a dashing posture with their swords. For a brief instant, it was as if the world stood still, silent and unchangeable, and then they both dashed at each other, waiting until the last second to swing their swords. They clashed and passed by each other. Both of them stopped at the opposite side as they started the dash, holding the follow-through postures. For another brief instant, everything stood still, and like a lightning flash, an ethereal cut manifested itself across the masked man's waist. Sasuke smirked in satisfaction. I look forward to meeting you again, Sasuke Uchiha. He faded away, disappearing from the strange realm. No! You bastard! You lost to a brat! The Three Tails screamed as the Mizukage awoke from his trance-like state. He looked in shock, but Sasuke locked eyes with him. Oi, Mizukage, control that monster of yours.
The power of the Sharingan is truly magnificent,
Orochimaru said, licking his lips as he watched the Three Tails shrinking down as its massive chakran form returned back inside of Yagura until only the Mizukage was left. I did it, Sasuke said, panting. What? Where am I? What's going on? What happened? Yagura said, looking desperate and lost. He looked at his own hands as if he couldn't recognize them, and then at his surroundings, completely confused. Who are you? He asked the three, with tears streaming down his face. Die! Yagura didn't even motion a reaction in his state of shock. Suigetsu cleaved through Yagura's torso with a diagonal slash, bisecting the Mizukage. The two sections of his body landed on the ground with a flapping sound, and a pool of blood began to form around them. Suigetsu cried as he stared down at the dead man, and to his utter terror, even after killing the bastard who caused him so much suffering, he didn't feel better at all. Maybe he felt even worse. There was a perpetual vacuum installed in every fiber of his being, a vacuum he thought he would never be able to fill, even with his death. Kai would never return, and now he truly had to accept it. He would never see her smile again. He fell to his knees and sobbed. That was all he could do.
So much bloodlust. Color me surprised.
His vengeance is fulfilled, but he doesn't feel better. He never had revenge etched in his heart.
Perhaps.
Orochimaru and Sasuke watched Suigetsu crying next to the dead Kage. Chakra began leaking out of Yagura's corpse. It was so dense that it almost looked solid. As the energy gushed out of him, it made a sound that resembled a scream of utter pain and agony, and the ripples leaking out made it look like something was dying.
When a Jinchuriki dies, the tail beast is ripped apart and its chakra is dispersed in the world. It will take some time until the Three Tails reforms itself. That should delay the Akatsuki's plans.
So it really is a painful process. That's why the Three Tails didn't want Yagura to die, Sasuke thought.
It was strange though, don't you think?
What was strange?
The way Yagura was acting after you subdued the Three Tails. He seemed lost. Did anything weird happen when you cast the Genjutsu?
No, not really. So this is where they usually store you, huh? Sasuke said, looking at Suigetsu, who was inside of his tank. A few days had passed after their mission to assassinate Yagura. Yep, it's kinda gross when I have to pee and stuff. Apparently Orochimaru is going to train me in other areas. He says my swordsmanship skills are adequate for now, so I don't think we'll spar for a while. Yeah, well, I still don't get how you can stand a snake, man. I mean, sure, Yagura had to die, but the other stuff he does? Like, make no no mistake. I despise Orochimaru. I'm just using him for my personal goal. When his utility runs its course, I'll kill him myself. He wasn't lying. Suigetsu could tell it. Sasuke really believed he could do that. Not if I get him first, Sasuke chuckled. Not if your lie gives out just by looking at his face. I was bluffing. Sure you were. You can be a pain. You know that, right? Sasuke turned around to leave, but before he did so, he stopped. One day I'll get you out of there, Suigetsu. Until then, we must play our parts. Suigetsu sighed, telling the story to Karin and Jugo. After that, Kabuto and his goons kept running experiments on me. All sorts of weird things they did. Karin and I had a few more encounters. Jugo, we even fought against each other and alongside each other a couple of times. But it was more of the same. It was like nothing ever happened. Until years later, when Sasuke arrived at my tank and got me out of there with the news that he had killed Orochimaru.
What happened to Mei and the Mist Village?
Jugo asked, with genuine curiosity. Apparently Mei became the 5th Mizukage, and apparently she managed to do that without violence, thanks to all the planning and things she did.
Well, that's good. So your sacrifice paid off. The Mist Village is not doing all those terrible things anymore, thanks to you.
I didn't do squat, Jugo. Stop trying to make me the hero.
You literally killed the evil Mizukage.
I just got to deliver the finishing blow. Sasuke and Orochimaru did the rest. Besides, I felt awful after that. Empty, and I also broke my promise of never killing again. I broke that promise so many times. Anyway, that was my story. As I said, not very interesting. Karin wasn't looking at Suigetsu. She had turned her head to the wall midway through the story. See? She even fell asleep to my story. Suigetsu pulled Karin to wake her up, but he was startled to find out she was awake, and her eyes were filled with tears. Karin immediately turned away from him, but Suigetsu grinned. Were you crying because of my story? Really? Damn! It's almost like you have a heart, Karin! Shut up, Suigetsu! I wasn't crying, I was yawning! Your story was so boring, it made me sleepy! They started to argue again. Suigetsu joked, and Karin got outraged. Jugo observed, but unbeknownst to them, Sasuke was awake. He had listened to Suigetsu's story. Click on the video on your screen so you continue watching the rewrites. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring notifications. It's been a long video. If you've reached this far, please do so. Comment down below your favorite parts of this rewrite, and thank you so much for watching.